The following program is closed captioned for the thinking impaired.
By tomorrow, I will rule the world!
You think he's gone? He's not gone. That's the whole point. He's never gone.
Is this some radical new therapy?
You see?
Well, I must have not been paying attention when you were just talking to me.
I'm telling you that never gets old.
I like that song.
That you could repeat the question.
I met Bill Murray at the beginning. He's never gone. I'm not just living rent-free in some people's heads.
You are. Didn't have nightmares with you.
I've paid off a mortgage in a lot of people's heads at this point. We get the show shared. Whoa, what happened? I lost volume. Was it just me or was it?
It was me.
Okay, all right. No, I meant like, is it out or is it
No,
just in
just
here?
us. Just us.
Oh, look, my rabbi's got the menorah lighting schedule up. We'll try and get to that today. I don't think Alta Gracia Maggi loves me anymore.
No, she doesn't.
That's too bad.
She does like little mean things to us in the morning show.
Does she really?
Yeah, she leaves like her name on her show as like an ad on our cover photo. You know what I did? I leave it there. She's part of the same. She's on the same station. What's the big deal?
That's the funny thing is people think that like by attacking us that it bothers us, and they don't realize they're the ones that are thin-skinned that can't handle it.
Yeah.
I've been doing this literally since 1985.
Yeah.
There's nothing these people that can do that can bother, as you're going to find out later on.
I looked at it, I was like, oh, that's cute. And I left it there. I could have deleted it. I left it. Everyone. Ba, 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 ba. Tom and I got into a huge fight, physical fight before the show started.
It was pretty brutal. But you know what? It's kind of like, you're kind of like a daughter to me, so when I fight with you, when I walk away, it's like, but I still fucking love her. I can't believe it.
I love you too. Where's everyone? Please share, like.
Yeah, where is everybody, damn it?
Come on.
We got a lot. We have a lot to get to today. And I'm trying to figure out, do we do Heather Plunkett losing her shit before we talk about the city council meeting or after?
Everyone.
I actually heard them that time. I miss Dave Garofalo. We got to go say hi to him at some point.
Okay.
But I think I do sponsor. I got to get my sponsors up. God damn, I'm so unprepared.
I want Mercurio to come.
Yeah, we got to get Duggan here.
Yeah.
We got to throw him a little bit of love. All right, let's get this show on the road. We got shit to do. Hi, how you guys doing? My name's Tom Duggan here with the Paying Attention Podcast. High atop the Golden Seal Apothecary, who has still not thanked us for giving them free plugs every week. Right here in downtown North Andover. Wow, boy, let me tell you got a good show today. Last week's show, we've gotten, I average maybe 10 to 15 emails a month about this show. I average maybe 30 emails a month on the newspaper, maybe 15 on the show. I think I topped off at about 50 last week. Okay. On the show about the about the obscenity stuff. That was last week, right?
That was last week. We also had Janilda here.
Oh, right, yeah.
And then we had Nelly Soto's video telling her that the station's
everybody thought that the chemistry between me and the future Mrs. Duggan on the show was great.
Well, that's why she's the future Mrs. Duggan. You got to just get her a ring. What are you waiting for?
I'm thinking
propose. Are you able to even get on your knees to propose or no?
I'll make it work.
Yeah? Okay.
I'll make it work. Okay. And I'm sure she'll appreciate the effort, too, as far as that goes.
Yeah, but who's going to help you get up? I'm sure you do it in front of people.
All right. I don't know. I have nothing here. I should have everything, but I have nothing.
Welcome in, everyone. Please share.
All right. Oh, there's our sponsors. All right, let's take our sponsors. And I noticed that I go in the same order every week, which means it's kind of like a billboard. People stop hearing it because you're going in the same order. It's like when you drive by a billboard every day, you stop saying it. So let's start at the bottom with our free shout-outs to JG's Ice Cream. Our buddies, the Jafrida brothers, are amazing guys in the community, and we love. It doesn't matter how cold it is. Right now, it's 39 degrees today. That's
Perfect.
that's almost my sweet spot. It's like
You want colder than that?
just like 2 degrees, like 37 is kind of like right
Okay.
there for me. Free show to Paul Lambert from Lambert and Randone. 4-Star Lighting, our buddy Joe from 4-Star Lighting. We love Joe. Prime Insurance at Doug Mercurio Law Office. Pleasant Valley, the landscaping contractors. AFC Urgent Care, Clear Path for Veterans New England. It's almost time to get Randy back in here, except he tells too many people too many of my secrets when he's here. I don't like that.
Randy Carter?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Like he comes on and he tells stuff about like our past and stuff. And
And you don't like that?
yeah,
So just tell him, brief
yeah.
him.
No, but see, he's the kind of friend that if you tell him not to do something, he will do it more.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Well, he's
So,
listening now, so next time he comes, he is going to do it. He's going to, he has good memory. He's going to remember.
Tomo and Shaken Seafood. Who did I go to Tomo with just recent? Was it you? Last week?
Wanda.
Oh, right. Yes, Wanda.
Wanda.
3 hours. We were supposed to have.
I was jealous because I wanted something.
It was supposed to be one of those things where I was, because they were an advertiser, so I went up to pick up a check.
Okay.
And on my way up, I'm like, I haven't eaten. I wonder who's around. And I knew Wanda and I had been trying to get together. And I was like, are you around? And she's like, yeah, I'll be there in like 25 minutes. And I was thinking maybe half an hour tops, and we were there for 3 hours.
Oh, wow.
Talking
Just,
about
like, talking.
all of the world.
Did you guys have alcohol?
I don't drink, so.
Did she?
I don't think she did.
Anyone that invites me out to like eat, you have to know I'm going to get a drink.
Okay.
That's all I have to say. Last week, though, do you want to share that? What happened?
Last week.
Sefmar, when we went and somebody like paid.
Oh, yeah. And we'll get back to the sponsors in a minute. So one of my advertisers, Mike and Candy Calizzi from Calizzi Memorials, was at Sevmar when we went to Jocelyn's on Merrimack Street, Methuen. And by the way, the food's just so amazing at Jocelyn. It's unbelievable.
My God. I had that chicken. It was
Right.
so fucking... sorry.
So we walked in, and who did we see? We saw Mike and Candy Calizzi from Sevmar with their son. And we started chatting about TMF, and they were telling me how they liked how I'm kind of calling people out in Lawrence about not helping the homeless. And
It was the day that it was like 8 degrees or something.
yeah, it was
like
a very
that.
cold day, and he pulled out $100 out of his pocket and said, "Here, give this to Mike Gorman to help the homeless," which is amazing. And then we sat down. We had a really nice dinner. Me and intern girl. It was just kind of us, and nice romantic candlelight.
Yeah, it was very, very romantic.
Right, yeah.
With the newspapers right next to us
Right.
and stuff like that.
And then as we're getting ready to leave, the woman comes over to me, and of course Mike and Candy have already left, and she said, "Hey, those people at that other table paid for your dinner." And I was like, oh, that was so nice of them. I just wish I'd known so I could have thanked them. And then, that does happen a lot. It happens.
I love going out with you.
I bet you
We
do.
always get free stuff. I love it.
You've been with me at least 4 times when that's happened, where we've got up to leave somewhere and someone said, "Hey, that couple at the other table, that guy at the bar, he paid." And there were times when I don't even know who they're talking about because I saw who that person was at the bar. He waved at me, I waved at him, and then this was like about a month ago, right? He waved at me, I waved at him, and I have no idea who he is. But when we left, the waitress came over and said, "Hey, he took care of it for you." So then I always feel bad because I overtip.
Yes,
if
you
the service is even half decent, I overtip.
You do.
So I either give a super huge tip or no tip at all. Well, like a $1 tip or $5. Like if the service is really like when we're getting off track here, but when what was the place across from you, the Mexican place that closed? Margaritas. When Margaritas was there, we gave them 3 chances, and all 3 times I think I left like a $5 tip on like a $50.
They weren't very good.
They
The ones
were
now
horrible.
are good though.
Yeah, not bad. So I always overtip. So then I feel bad when someone pays for my dinner because now I'm like, well, did they give this guy enough money? Because these people work on tips, right? That's their whole life. So I always give them my credit card and say, run this for a penny so I can give you a tip. So I can at least pay for your tip. So
You did give her a really large tip.
I did give her
on
a
top of
very
the tip
large
they got. She was very nice. too.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, you don't know what the other people, and I'm sure Mike and Candy took care of her, but like, I always feel like I should give something, right? Like, I don't like getting things totally for free. I feel like
You're such a much better person than I am. I was like, okay, thank you. They paid and they give you a tip. Great.
So, by the way, that was a free advertisement for Jocelyn's at Sevmar. Who else do you have? EIS, Investigation and Gun Trading, Marson and Son Construction. I think the Hungry Traveler is coming on board. I just gotta pull the trigger with them and put a package together for them, and everybody gets a separate package. So anybody that's interested in advertising, whether it's on the show or in the newspaper, when they call and they say, "What are your ad rates?" There's no such thing as my ad rates. Like we have what we have posted online. But that's like if you want to buy one ad. So if you go online and you look at our ad prices, that's if you want to buy one ad. If you want to buy an ad for one paper, that's what the. But if you want to, someone calls and says, "Well, I'm thinking of coming in for 6 months." I'll give you a discount.
Yeah.
Someone says, "What if I pay you for all 6 months up front?" I'll give you another discount. They say, "Well, what if I want to come in for the paper and the podcast?" I'll give you another discount.
How does the board feel about that?
So they love it because it actually brings in. I upsell and it brings in more money long term. So if you. Each month I'm making less money than I would if I charged full price, but because they're coming in for longer, you add the total of what they're paying for the year, and you end up making more money that way. Okay. And they're getting a lot more than what they're paying for because they're paying, by the time I'm done giving them discounts, like Billy at Brando's, right? So by the time he's done paying that bill for Brando's that he's spent, he's getting like $15,000 worth of advertising for 5, right? And so and I love doing that because anybody who's a really good business person, I don't have to explain it to them. They do the math in their head and they know it. Like they look at what I'm giving them, they look at what they're getting and they go, yeah, that's a pretty good deal. So most people who are in business and have been in business a long time know when I start talking prices. Like they don't have to ask; they know that they're getting more than one. And when you go to the Eagle Tribune, by the way, not for anything, not to get off on the track, but we have a very busy show. When you go to the Eagle Tribune, you buy an ad in the Eagle Tribune. You know what you get? You get an ad. That's all you get. Yeah. You buy an ad in the Eagle Tribune, you get an ad.
You don't get any connections. Even some of your ads, like some of the people, they can even write for the paper if they wanted to.
Right. We give free content. Right.
It's a family.
Right.
It's different.
Yeah, it is.
Hi, Luis Robles.
We have to do intern girl cam.
Oh, yeah.
For Pleasant Valley Landscaping.
I didn't do the thing. I forgot. You got to remind me. My brain.
Intern girl.
My brain.
He paid for this.
I know. I'm sorry,
All
David.
right,
he's okay. He's in Florida right now.
Is he? Yeah.
He is in Florida.
Oh, I got a picture. I'm going to try and send it to you for the end of the show.
Okay, send it to me so we can.
So he's in Miami somewhere where they make Cafe Bustelo.
He's in Miami?
I think so. And he
usually likes to go to Clearwater, no?
I thought he usually goes to Key West.
Key West. Oh, even better.
Right.
Nice.
But I think he was in Miami and he had a picture of him with like 10 cases of Cafe Bustelo, like somewhere where they make it.
Yeah.
And he sent it to me and I'm like, was that my Christmas present?
Well, anyways, here it is. Hold on.
Yeah, it's the Pleasant Valley Landscaping Contractor Cam. It's actually the intern girl cam, sponsored by Pleasant Valley Landscaping.
Thank you.
Contractors.
Thank you.
Contractors.
They're actually buying Alejandro winter clothes with
Are
that.
they really?
They are. He needs clothes.
On the go notary, the Zanny Pesh law office. Because they're Italian. You know they're Italian? They're Italian, you know.
Yes.
I bet you didn't know they were Italian.
They posted a reel, and there was like the logo of their business, like
was
on
an
a
Italian
photo,
flag?
And it was like an Italian, like grape leaves and stuff like that, and yeah.
Brando's in Haverhill on Broadway. We are going to go. We're doing a flash mob lunch, I think, next week. We tried it last week. Everybody bailed last minute.
I don't have the kids.
We could try. We could try for Sunday. Sunday's actually a good day for me to try and get out.
Yeah.
Century 21 McLennan Real Estate. All right. So where do we go? So what do you want to do? Do you want to do Heather Plunkett losing her shit at the school committee meeting?
I think that sets the tone for the rest of the
You do?
Yeah, I think so. Why don't we do it?
All right. So I'm going to stop it intermittently as we go. It's I think 7 minutes. I don't know that we want to go the whole 7 minutes, but it's like 7 minutes long if I'm remembering correctly here.
Okay. Yeah, 7 minutes 37.
Yeah, I don't know that we want to go the whole 7
we don't have to. You just tell me when
minutes,
to stop.
but yeah, I want to give you a flavor. So this is from October 27th. So this was the meeting right after they all got up and talked about book banning.
Okay.
So for those of you who need contacts who didn't follow the last couple of shows, so a parent in the Methuen schools complained that her 13-year-old daughter was in class and they read a book called something like The Full-Time Masturbating Indian Chocolate Factory something, right? And she complained because there was a passage in there about masturbation, and there was also another passage calling black people the N-word. Now, I've had people come on my page and go, what's the big deal, Tom? We all read Huck Finn. This is not Huck Finn. This is not Huck Finn, Tom Sawyer, called Jim the N-word Jim in the book in every passage because that's what they called people back then. It wasn't a pejorative. Yeah. That's just what they called people, right? Mm-hmm. So it wasn't, back then it wasn't considered what it is considered today, right? because now we have perspective.
No, and the way they use it on the book is, it wasn't the same, basically. It
was
was in a bad way.
It was in that book, at least, it was almost a term of endearment, at least for Tom Sawyer and Huck Finn, right? That's not what this book was doing. This book told a joke about black people using the N-word and denigrating Indians. Anyways, she complained, and because she complained, all of these groups, I call them the school Nazis, because they get up at every public participation and they just attack and bully people, insult people, and as you see, you're going to see later on when we talk about the city council meeting, we are going to get to that. You're going to see what these people do is it's a coordinated group effort. And you know that because they get up and they start with, this is not a coordinated group effort. That's exactly how you do it.
No, I like how in this meeting that we're going to see, like her talking,
yeah.
There's no one in the back.
Right, yeah.
Like, do they really care? Why can't they just go to all the meetings and be more
right.
involved and do more things? No. There's no one there.
Right.
There's
Well, kind of like the meeting about book banning, where they were saying everything was book banning over and over and over to distract from the fact that this parent was complaining about masturbation being talked about in her 13-year-old kid's classroom. So they had to make it about book banning, like, look at the squirrel. It's a big distraction. You'll notice that the minute those people finished speaking and getting on television and grandstanding, they were out the door. So by the time Kristen Maxwell actually addressed what the real issue was with the parent, they weren't even in the room anymore. They didn't care about the details. Dennis DeZoglio, who's the former mayor of Methuen, didn't give two shits about about what was actually going to be discussed that night. They actually just wanted to get up and they wanted to virtue signal and distract.
Liberals. That's what they
100%,
are. That's what they are. They're
100%.
bully. They think they're better than everybody.
They're woke liberals.
They know what's right for everybody. You want me to play it?
Okay, so this is the meeting after that. And so this is Heather Plunkett. She's one of the school Nazis. She's one of the, I don't want to quote my favorite state representative, Ryan Hamilton, but she's one of the generals of the school Nazis. And by the way, that's what he calls them. So I think everybody's going with the school Nazi theme now at this point, right?
Okay.
I think everybody's kind of adopting what we're doing here.
So these people are like in control of like Methuen, basically. The generals,
so
right?
what they do is they get up at public participation at public meetings, and they're like. So in World War II, when Hitler was first coming to power, there were these groups of young people called the brown shirts. And they would wear brown shirts to show their solidarity with the Nazi Party. And the Nazi Party hadn't completely taken over Germany yet, but they were in the process of taking over. So anybody that showed up at a public meeting that complained about what Hitler was doing and what his people were doing, they would just get up and they would shout them down, they would insult them, they would bully them, and that's what these people are. They're brown shirts. That's why I call them the school Nazis. So anybody who has anything bad to say about Brandy Kwong could walk into a McDonald's and shoot 15 people. And if somebody complained about it, these people would get up at public participation and attack
lady
them.
Too?
Yes,
okay.
Jade Jalbert.
Yeah.
What are you laughing at over there?
No, nothing. I got a picture. Nothing.
What?
Dave is saying that I am home near Naples, Florida. 78 degrees at the pool. So happy to hear I'm contributing to Alejandro's winter clothes. I may have to up my sponsorship.
I agree with that.
And then look.
Jesus, I hate him. I hate him so much.
Why? Because he's having a good time?
Because there's a palm tree in the background and I'm not in that photo. That's why.
You don't even like to travel, Tom.
Listen,
the furthest you've been is Alabama. Well, Alabama. How do you say it?
I lived in Davie, Florida for almost a year.
You did?
I did, yep.
Sneaky.
Yep, I was 15 minutes south of Fort Lauderdale. I was 5 minutes west of Hollywood Beach. And every single morning, I was 26. Every single morning, I would get up at 5 a.m., believe it or not, right? I would get up 4 or 5 a.m., and I would drive to Hollywood Beach, and I would watch these huge cranes the size of this desk.
Wait, are you talking about a dream you had?
No, I'm talking about when I lived in Florida. I lived in Davie, Florida.
You used to wake up at 5?
5 o'clock? Right. And these huge cranes would swoop down and eat fish, like right out of the ocean.
Yeah.
And I would sit there and watch the sun come up almost every morning for about a year. Boy, I'd love to go back to that. And I really had planned on never coming back ever again, but
what happened?
Circumstances
Got too
changes.
hot?
My grandfather had a stroke, so I had to come back and deal
Sorry.
with that. All right, so where are we here? So this is the meeting, October 22nd, 27th. Now, this is Heather Plunkett. So this is after the book banning meeting, and she's furious because after that meeting, we came in here and played clips of her acting like an idiot and calling them groomers, and so you'll hear what she has to say. And what is?
No, you always tell me it's in the eyes.
Oh, it's in the eyes. For sure. But look how unhinged she is during this. And
You want me to play it?
we're going to stop it periodically because I'm going to have some commentary.
Amazing speech tonight, and I was going to read it, but I thought it might
You
be
can
better
actually
for me
bounce
to
up
actually
to
make
25-second
eye
mark
contact
and
with folks
stuff.
as opposed to reading.
To what?
As I
That's good
want to
enough.
make sure that everything I have to say is heard by the person I'm saying it
Oh,
to.
we're going to hear you.
Unfortunately,
Trust
Ms.
me.
Maxwell is missing the
dare
meeting
you.
this evening, so I will not be able to address my comments to her in this forum, but I will still be able to say my piece. Interestingly, after the meeting on October 14th, not last week, the week before, committee member Willett said he was owed an apology. He was owed an apology for all the things that everyone is saying about him that just aren't true. I find that interesting because two of your fellow committee members have been attacked online repeatedly by someone that you are friends with and work for.
That would be me.
I think you might owe an apology.
Can you pause that? Okay, so before we even start, is there any way you could play that next to me and not over me? No, huh? Before we even start, this is the tool of all tyrants, okay? So what Heather Plunkett is doing now is she's creating a social situation where other people are responsible for what other people do. So Kristen Maxwell and Ken Willett are now responsible for what I do. She's talking about me, which is fine because this makes it so much more fun. Because quite frankly, I'm not responsible for the fact that 70% of the kids in Methuen can't fucking read, okay? So she's not up there angry with the teachers unions, the administrators, or the superintendent because 70% of the kids in Methuen can't fucking read. That's not what she's upset about. She's upset that I'm calling them out. That's what she's upset about. And so she gets up and she starts off with, how dare Kristen Maxwell and Ken Willett be friends with someone who insulted people? That makes you responsible. No, it really doesn't. And you know how you know that? You know how you know it doesn't make them responsible? Because when she was done her 7-minute soliloquy, her 7-minute attack on me, Kristen, Ken Willett, Ryan DeZoglio, even the mayor at one point, when she was done, her friend Dan Shabilia and Mary Beth Donovan, keep making that mistake.
It's all right.
Her two friends, were they responsible for what she just did? Did anybody get up and say, hey, Dan Shabilia, you sat there silent. You said nothing while this woman attacked Ken Willett? No. Did anybody get up at the next meeting and say, hey, Mary Beth Donovan, you're responsible for what crazy Heather Plunkett said about Kristen Maxwell. You should apologize for what she did. No, because fucking grown-ups know that I'm not responsible for what intern girl says just because we're friends. But if you're a tyrant, if you're a woke idiot, what you do is you make it uncomfortable for people to be friends with people that you don't like because they said something, and you try to enlist them to fight your battles for you. And when they don't do that, then you attack them. That's why I have at least 36 people that have reached out to me in the last 2 weeks saying that this little Methuen Politics Facebook page that Dan Shabilia set up, that they've been blocked. Because even though they agree with them on 99% of what they say they believe in on this page, the one time you disagree with them, they kick you out of the group and they block you.
Really?
Right, yeah. So this is who and what they are.
That sounds like a tyrant.
By the way, this is why they're having secret meetings at the Nevins Library about Tom Duggan.
I was going to ask you about that. Is that even legal, Tom?
Yeah.
It is?
Free speech. I mean, they want to have meetings about me, let them have it.
No, but if they're involved, right, the school committee members are involved, and we have people who are elected officials, shouldn't it be open to the public
so
to be
if
able
you
to
have,
hear it?
So the rule is if you have a quorum, which is the majority, so if 5 members of the school committee were there, and they were talking about school business, that would be a violation of the open meeting law. What they did was they got together to talk about me, and I'm not school business. So they try to make me school business. They want me to be school business because they see that I'm actually having an effect on pushing back in the community against the bullshit they've been getting with for 7 years. And I want to apologize, too, to Ken Millett, Kristen Maxwell, and a few others for not paying attention to what was going on in the Methuen schools for 7 years. Because when Ken Willett got elected, I just figured, well, he's one of us, right? So if there's anything really crazy going on, he'll let us know. And then I enlisted him to write for the paper, thinking he'd write more about like the Methuen schools. But for a while, he was really kind of writing about like Trump and Republicans, and he's very into like the national stuff. He's like my friend Bob from New Hampshire. He just wants to talk about national stuff all the time. And then eventually, I got him to start writing about Methuen stuff, and that's how I ended up getting involved because. Now, once he started writing about the Methuen schools, that's when I started. All right, so this is the whole premise of the school Nazis, and this is in every community. It's in North Andover. It's in maybe not Lawrence, but it's in almost every other community. Certainly in Haverhill, certainly in North Andover, certainly in Andover. This small group of school people who are going to hold everyone else accountable for what someone else says in order to bully everyone into doing and saying what they want. All right, let's. She's got a lot to say here.
Amazing speech tonight, and I was going to read it.
She's
but
amazing.
I thought it might be better for me to actually make eye contact with folks as opposed to reading, as I want to make sure that everything I have to say is heard by the person I'm saying it to. Unfortunately, Ms. Maxwell is missing the meeting this evening, so I will not be able to address my comments to her.
How did we get back
in
here?
this forum, but I will still be able to say my piece.
All right, very good.
Interestingly, after the meeting on October 14th, not last week, the week before, committee member Willett said he was owed an apology. He was owed an apology for all the things that everyone is saying about him that just aren't true. I find that interesting because two of
Because I'm a
your
school Nazis?
fellow committee members have been attacked online repeatedly by someone that you are friends with and work for.
Oh my God, he's
I
friends
think
with someone who
you might owe
attacks
an
people.
apology to them for basically standing by and watching it happen.
For
right?
doing nothing.
After the meeting and after the comments were made in support of our transgender students, we've been called, and I speak for myself as well as other parents and residents, perverts,
Right.
groomers,
Right.
and bullies.
Exactly.
So if you are associating with this journalist that goes online to call people, I'm speaking to you. Thank you. When we go online, Mr. Willett, I am speaking to you. It is common to make eye contact when speaking.
I'd be like, fuck you.
Right?
Tell me to
You can
look
away
at
if
you.
want, but I'm speaking to you. I'm
She reminds me
addressing
of
my
every
comments directly
stepmother
to you,
anybody's ever
not
had
to
in
the
their
board.
life.
This is to you right now. And the reason I'm saying this is because not only do you write for this gentleman's paper, but you have sat by idly saying nothing.
Right.
When Laurie Keegan's attacked for her child being trans.
Okay, we got to stop
Or,
it there. We got to stop it
Dan
there.
Shabelia is being attacked.
Okay, so first of all, nobody attacked Laurie Keegan's kid, and nobody attacked Laurie Keegan for her kid being trans. And DJ Beauregard tried that bullshit when he was here.
You never brought it up.
I never brought it up.
You never brought it up.
I never brought it
had
up.
no idea that was the case.
As my
until
intern, as someone who does this show every week, you had no clue until DJ Beauregard said it on this show.
Yes.
Right.
He was the one that brought it up.
Right.
You never brought up any kids.
That's right.
You always brought up the context of the books.
That's correct.
And the things that they want to do.
When I did bring it up was after they started this shit. When Heather Plunkett got up there on October 27th, because remember, this is from 2 months ago. When she got up there and she started with Tom Duggan, which, again, she doesn't mention me by name, but that I attacked.
Journalist.
I attacked the journalist, you're right, the one with 3 dozen journalism awards, the
Yep.
journalist, right? When she brought it up and she started making it about that, then I addressed it. That's when I addressed it. But I didn't address it on this show. I certainly never wrote about it in my newspaper. I think I made a comment on Facebook that she was out of her mind, that I never talked about Laurie Keegan's transvestite kid. All right? And if I'd wanted to, it almost makes me want to do it now because I'm being accused of doing something I didn't do. I might as well at least enjoy doing it, right? If I wanted to come in here and talk about how Laurie Keegan perverted her kid, right? I could do a whole show on that. I could do a whole show on parents that pervert their children, because there's no kid out there that thinks that they were born in the wrong body until a grown-up puts that in their
Yep.
head.
Very
Period.
right.
Okay? So if you're raising a freak because you turned him into a freak, that's on you. That's on you. It's not on the kid. I would never attack the kid.
You never did.
But they get up there
They're
and they...
making it about
Right.
that because they want to sell themselves to be the victim and you're the
Right.
bad person. But you never, ever, ever brought it up. I had no idea until DJ
Right.
himself was sitting here right before the elections and he mentioned it.
Yep.
I had no idea. So there you go.
But we're gonna protect the trans kids because they're morally up here and you're morally down here. And then she mentions that I attacked Dan Shabilia's kid, which I never did. I talked about how he got his kid into the marsh. That's what I talked about. That's not attacking someone's kid. But see, when they have to do it, first of all, every time it will hide behind their kids, every single one. Okay, if they have kids, they will hide behind their kids, because then it just changes. It changes the narrative. I noticed that Kelsey Shabilia, crybaby Kelsey Shabilia, has been telling people that Maria Figueroa is stalking her children. Okay, because if she says she's stalking me, no one gives a shit. But when you say she's stalking my children, people's eyebrows go up and go, well, you know, kids, you shouldn't be doing that with kids. But I think most people who know crybaby Kelsey Shabilia know that she's just a habitual liar and just makes shit up, right? But this is what they do. This is what they do. So let's listen to the rest of what.
So every time we go back, it goes back to time. So I have my paper out, so I will have to keep track of like the time.
All right.
But I don't know now. Let's see.
Amazing speech tonight. and I
No,
was
you
gonna
got to
read
bounce
it,
way past that.
But I thought it might be better for me to actually make eye contact with the folks as opposed to reading to her. You are friends with and work for. I think you might owe an apology to them for basically standing by and watching it happen, right? After the meeting and after the comments were made in support of our transgender students, we've been called, and I speak for myself as well as other
repeat
parents
this
and
one.
residents, perverts,
Right.
groomers,
Right.
and bullies.
Right.
So
She outs
if you are
right on all three
associated
counts.
with this
Guilty.
journalist that goes
You're gonna have to
online
bounce up at
call
least a
people-
minute.
I'm speaking to you. Thank you.
I'm speaking to you, Ken Willett.
When
I
we
like
go
this part.
online, Mr. Willett, I am speaking to you. Not only do
It is
you
customary
write
that you stare
for
at
this
me when I
gentleman's
speak at you.
paper, but you have sat by idly saying nothing when Laurie Keegan's attacked for her child being trans, or Dan Shabilia is
Yeah,
being
I'm
attacked
attacking her 'cause her
his
kid is
wife
trans.
was
I'm
up here
attacking her
and
'cause
spoke.
she's a freak.
Even went as far as to speak of Kelsey's physical appearance, but you do
Which I
nothing.
never
you Say
did.
nothing. It's who owes who?
I
an
can do
apology?
that, by the way. I can talk about Kelsey's physical
I just
appearance
wanna
if you
say,
want me
Laurie,
to.
you, I am so sorry for the way that people behave towards you and that they
Laurie, you're the
associate and are
best.
endorsed by this
I want to
person.
lesbian kiss you.
And I'm giving him way too much attention. I'll admit it. I'm sure he's going to eat this up. I can't wait to be on his podcast as he takes this apart and talks about what a pervert and groomer and
Right,
everything else
right,
that I am.
right.
And that's fine. I will always stand up for trans kids.
Oh, she's
and
so
there's
wonderful.
no reason on God's green earth why anyone should have ever attacked you for your
I
children.
don't think she believes in
You
God.
are on
She
this
mentioned
committee
God
as a
in this.
servant
Oh,
to the
right.
community. Your family should never play into this, and
Right.
sure as hell not use as a weapon against you.
Right.
I feel so bad
I
that
s-
I was
I
not
lose
aware
sleep
of this
at night.
sooner, and that I couldn't speak out against it sooner.
If only I could go to
So
his house
even
and
my
beat him up
sincere
for
apology
you.
as a resident
Come with
that
it.
I
Look
didn't
at
come
me.
to your defense sooner, because that is, it's just disgusting that somebody would do that to you, and I apologize.
Oh, this is great.
DJ, I know that in the past you have been endorsed by this journalist. There are people running for the school committee right now that are endorsed.
That's
Ms.
right.
Maxwell and Mr. Willett.
Both
are
of them who
endorsed
won, by
this
the way.
journalist. This man that calls people names, posts the most disgusting, vile things, has doxed people, posting their home. and
Okay,
their
we're gonna
address.
stop it there. Remember
I
the-
don't
remember the time.
understand How
Because
got it.
I never doxed anyone, okay? So this goes to show you that Joe Ferretra has a part in this, because Joe Ferretra moved out of Methuen when he was sitting on the Methuen City Council,
The one that went to
Manchester, New
Manchester,
Hampshire.
okay.
And he was sending in his agenda items for the Methuen City Council from an email account, which IP address tracked him back to Manchester, New Hampshire. So I wrote a story on Facebook that this guy is zooming in from Manchester, New Hampshire.
You cannot make this up.
Think of that. He's zooming in from Manchester, New Hampshire to the Methuen City Council meetings, making decisions about the city of Methuen while he lives in Manchester.
Paying taxes in Manchester.
Paying taxes in Manchester, bought a house in Manchester. So when I went online and I blew out this story, he and his friends came to my page and denied it. Now, here's the thing. I never posted anything about his personal information up until that moment. But if you're going to fucking deny it, and you know Tom Duggan doesn't say it unless he's got the goods, and you're going to deny it anyway, and you're going to have your friends come on and deny it, you're going to humiliate your friends by getting them to come on my page and lie for you. So what did I do? Did I post his home address and dox him? No, what I did was I posted the mortgage agreement. I posted the mortgage agreement that one of my real estate friends researched for me before I posted online that he moved out. And the mortgage agreement says within the mortgage agreement that this must be your primary residence. So Nick DiZoglio is running around telling people, oh, it's a vacation home, it's investment property, like all the excuses that he makes for anybody who's any corrupt elected official. Nick DiZoglio and Mike Samad will defend publicly. They will make any excuses that they can for them because they consider themselves part of the ruling class. And they will always stand with Hitler over the Jews. Nick and Samad will be the guys standing at the train station saying, get on the train, you're just going for a shower. Right? That's these two guys, right? So we know now, just from this clip, that Joel Ferretra had a hand in all of this because Tom Duggan didn't dox anyone. Tom Duggan took publicly available information about a mortgage agreement, posted it online because an elected official was zooming in from Manchester, New Hampshire, pretending he lived in Methuen.
Didn't you have like a family member come in with like that information?
So then they continued to deny it and said that he posted online that I was lying.
Uh-huh.
And then posted that he posted his address in Methuen, not Tom Duggan. He posted his address in Methuen.
To prove that you were lying.
And he posted a picture of his family behind a window at the home, which I got blamed for. And he's the one who posted it. And then his mother-in-law sent us a letter saying, oh, by the way, he doesn't live here anymore. This is not his primary residence. I live here now. I moved in. Okay? All right? You want the real story, Heather Plunkett? You want to get up there and you want to fucking tell lies about people? I'm okay with you doing that because Tom Duggan, you can say anything you want about me. I'm an asshole. I'm mean. I'm this. I'm that. You can say anything you want about me, but I don't lie. When I say something in public, I don't say it until I have the documents, until I've verified it, until I have witnesses, until I have mortgage agreements, until I have letters from the family. I don't say something publicly until I know it's true because I've been sued at least a dozen times.
How many have you lost?
0. Not only have I never lost, but I've got 2 wins in 2 different state Supreme Courts on First Amendment cases. One in the New Hampshire Supreme Court and one in the Massachusetts Supreme Court. And I can even cite the cases for anybody who wants to doubt me. Okay, so I don't want to really make all of this about me, but all of this that you're seeing now, as we finish with Heather Plunkett and her insanity at the Methuen School Committee, you're going to see how this cancer spreads to all the other school Nazis and how they all start to do the same thing. All right, let's get back to her where she was.
Yep. Let's see if it works.
Amazing speech tonight. I was going to read it.
It goes right back.
But I thought it might be better for you to act
There
how
it is.
anybody can stand by that. We all belong in Methuen, right? We should all be able.
How come
to
she
speak
didn't give
our
her
piece
address? Did you notice she
without
didn't give
being
her
attacked
address?
online. There's just it's ridiculous, and for people to give it any credence, and there's 2 people on here, Mr. Willett and Ms. Maxwell, that are friends with this guy.
It makes it
just blows my
crazy
mind.
that there are people who are
absolutely
friends
blows
with
my
me.
mind.
Why is
Dan,
it all
I want
about
to apologize to
trans
you
kids?
for everything that's been said about you and Kelsey online, and a lot of it is because we spoke out in support of the LGBTQ kids here.
No,
at
it's the
school and in the
LBGTQIA
community,
plus backward
and
slash
spoke out
division
about a
sign.
book not being banned. And by the way, I know Ms. Maxwell said, no, I'm not banning the book.
She's not banning
and
a
then in
book.
the public comments said, oh wait, can't we just remove it from the classroom if it makes people uncomfortable? Guess what that is? Banning a book.
No, it's
If you're
not.
going to remove it from the curriculum,
No, it's called
that's a
age-appropriate
form of
material
banning
for
a
children.
It
Banning a
isn't
book means the
opt-out,
government
which again
disallows
that
you
parent
from
had every
getting
right
it.
to do, and apparently Ms. Maxwell, instead of getting the
Maxwell.
answer for the parent
She's
with the
attacking
concern
them.
and pointing her in the right direction,
Who's
of
the
where she
bully?
could get information,
You guys
she
tell me,
brought it as an
who's the
agenda
bully?
item. And I don't understand that either. We have policies in place that have been in place for years. That book has been in the curriculum for over a decade. But suddenly it's this hot button topic and inappropriate and pornography and all this other stuff. And
Right, it
because
is.
I defended it, I'm just a grooming pervert.
Right, you are.
Seriously.
Yeah, you
And
are.
again, you just sat there. Yeah, you can shrug. It's fine. Yeah, no, the camera's not on you, so I'll go ahead and tell everybody what you're doing. You're sitting back, just shrugging, like, whatever. Just get through this, right?
Yeah, 'cause you're a nut.
Right, Mr. Willett? You know, I'm tired of seeing people getting destroyed that are public servants.
Destroyed?
And people sitting by and doing nothing.
They're being
It just blows
destroyed.
my mind. Mr. DiZoglio, in your comments, you said we were being passive aggressive. I think you need to look up the definition of passive aggressive because this ain't passive, my friend.
No, it's psycho-aggressive.
This is speaking it directly to you, and I will back it up in person, online, anything I say.
I would love for her to
anytime,
back it up
I
in
will back it
person.
up. Yes, I'm passionate. Yes, I'm upset. And you know why? Because I live in Methuen and I care about it. And I care about the kids that go to school
No,
here.
you don't.
And I don't want any child of any family to feel like they are not welcome here, they can't belong here.
I hate to
Mr.
stop
Willett
this, but you
also
got to stop
posted the
this and
ICE
just keep the
hotline
time.
for people to call it.
She wants to make sure that nobody feels uncomfortable. That's why she wants boys to go in girls' bathrooms. She wants to make sure every
who complained about it.
Right.
Does that parent not matter? Does that child not
She
matter?
does not matter. No, if you're a normal kid, you don't matter. If you're a 13-year-old girl in a bathroom that doesn't want boys walking in, you don't matter. If you're a normal kid that sits in a classroom and doesn't want to hear a grown-up talk about masturbation while you sit in a classroom with boys, you don't matter. The only time you matter is if the Democrat Party says you are a preferred group. If you're part of the LGBTQIA plus division sign backwards / community, then maybe you count. If you're a transvestite, you count. And we'll do everything we can to fuck everyone else, screw everyone else, take everyone else's rights away. We're going to force normal girls to deal with boys going into girls' bathrooms so that the boy going into the girls' bathroom feels comfortable. And then have the nerve to say, I want everyone. No, you don't want everyone. You want specific preferred groups that make you feel powerful. That's what you want.
She's telling herself to be the best and the most kindest
And the
and
thing
God-loving person.
And she
she's not.
starts off with, Tom Duggan's a bully and you're allowing it. Look at what she's doing. She's bullying people by name. She can let you look at me. She reminds me of my stepmother. She reminds me of my stepmother growing up. Everybody's got that crazy aunt or that stepmother that just doesn't stop, just goes and goes and goes. Everything you do is wrong, and they pick apart everything you do because they're so insecure it makes them feel powerful. Mm-hmm. And this is what this crazy lady is. And by the way, she's not even the worst of the worst. This is one of the reasons I'm doing this, because we're going to get to the city council meeting in a second, where the city council took a vote this week of no confidence in the superintendent, and all the school Nazis went crazy. I was giving you time to bounce up to where we need to be to finish her off.
Oh, we have to play it in order to do. I don't know what's going on. I know.
Amazing speech.
All right,
tonight.
and I love how she thinks she had an amazing
I think
speech.
you need to look up.
There you go.
And I care about the kids that go to school here.
No, you don't.
And I don't want any child of any family to feel like they are not welcome here. They can't belong here. Mr. Willett also posted the ICE hotline for people to call. I guess he wanted to turn in the neighbors, have people turn on their neighbors. You do realize that over 50% of our student population is Hispanic. And you do realize that ICE is racially profiling.
No, they're not. There's no
Hispanic
evidence of that.
people.
And
So
I hope you guys realize that
want
Latinos
kids
support
calling their
ICE.
families. Is that, I mean, why the hell would you ever post that on?
Why the hell would
It
you
just
do that?
doesn't make sense.
How
Yes, I'm
dare
speaking to
you?
Again, and I know you can't answer me. Can't wait for your comments. But again, this is somebody that is on the school committee.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
I asked if something was on the agenda.
She's attacking.
Is that on the
She's
agenda?
attacking a guy who's
Who's the chairman?
handicapped.
DJ, right?
Yeah. Yeah, DJ allowed all of
So I
this.
did ask about if our comments had to be on the agenda, and I was told no.
You can stop there.
can
Well,
speak to
I'm
whatever is
done
in
with her. I'm done with her. This goes on for another 4 minutes. And by the way, DJ sat there and he allowed every word of it. He allowed
Even though
every
it
word of
wasn't
it.
allowed, right?
So I wanted her to keep going. Like, I was yelling in my office when this was live, when Ken was trying to stop her. And I get why, because they're there to talk about policies and budgets to educate children. And this woman's talking about me for 15 minutes.
No, she's talking about something he posted on his social media that has nothing to do with what she's talking about.
Right. But
That's
she
none of her
started off
business.
with
That's why
me, and then she's attacking him because he won't defend
And DJ allowed all
them.
of this?
DJ allowed the whole thing, which is okay, except that, like, you would think, like, the one thing that I agree with on public participation limits is there should be a 5-minute limit or a 3-minute limit, and it should be, you can't, the Supreme Court says you can't control the content. So you can't tell them it has to have something to do with what's on the agenda tonight, but you should be encouraging people to stick to the agenda items, right? And it's a school committee meeting. It's not Heather Plunkett's little podcast. Now, if she wants a podcast over here at NCAM, they will charge her $200 an hour. And if she wants to come in and she wants to do a show about how much Tom Duggan sucks, I'll send her the form. I know that they had their secret little meeting at the Nevins Library about doing a podcast on Methuen Cable Access so they could counter what Tom Duggan is doing, right? And the other thing that's kind of interesting about all of this is, I want to point out again, She's standing there bullying people by name while she's complaining about bullying. This is something that Dan Shabilia does on a regular basis. He bullies people while he's complaining about other people bullying, because tyrants will always accuse other people of what they're doing in order to confuse everyone. And that's why I'm calling them school Nazis, because they are. And you know how they are, because the first time they started this bullshit, they started talking about fascism. And these people don't know anything about fascism. As a Jew, I can tell you, I know a hell of a lot more about what the Nazis did to the Jews than they do. They have no fucking clue. They think that taking a book out of the curriculum of a 13-year-old kid's classroom is book banning. You know what book banning is? Book banning is you go on Amazon and you can't get it. Book banning is you go to the library and you can't get it.
When the government keeps you from
When the government keeps you from getting it. Not when it's restricted because of age appropriateness. Just like you don't allow kids to walk into a porn store and buy videos. I don't even know if there are porn stores around anymore. I think there might be. But
there are. There's adult stores.
Are they still adult stores?
There's one right next to Tomo.
You don't allow a 14-year-old to go into. Is the one next to Tomo?
Yeah, there's one right there, like an adult store. So it's like a bunch of.
I did not know that.
Long things.
You don't allow a 14-year-old to walk into a strip club. Why? Because it's not age appropriate. All right. Now, I would never be for stopping grown-ups from going to a strip club. I would never be for grown-ups not having access to a book that wants to talk about anal sex or masturbation. But when you're talking about children, that's not book banning. And calling it book banning goes to show what a perverted groomer you are, Heather Plunkett. That's what it does. Jade Jalbert, Heather Plunkett, Megan Ann, I could name all of them. And we're gonna hear from all of them in a minute. Cara Blatt, we're going to hear from all of them in a minute. Because after all this nonsense, by the way, do you have the graphic that I gave you?
Yes.
Okay. After all this nonsense, I did a show, and I'm going to show this now periodically throughout the rest of the show. If you could pull that up next to me, if that's possible.
Oh, next to you? Hold on.
Yeah.
Give me a second.
Because after all of this, I did a show where I showed you guys, thanks to Duncan Burns, our research assistant, our research, not assistant, our research expert.
Yeah, that was nice. Thank you.
Went and got us all the numbers from the Department of Education. And by the way, these numbers came from the Department of Education. You know where the Department of Education got these numbers?
Where?
From the Methuen school system. So these numbers came from the very people that Heather Plunkett is defending, that Larry Keegan is defending, or see the look she gave me for that one, or Mary Beth Donovan is defending, or even sometimes Ryan DeZoglio, although he's getting a lot better, I will say that much. But look at these numbers. Look at these numbers. Tom Duggan's the problem in Methuen. Tom Duggan's the problem. A guy who lives in North Andover who has a newspaper who's simply calling people out. I'm the problem. 70% of kids can't read. 73% of kids can't do math. They spend 19% more than the national average on education. And look at the numbers. Look at the English language numbers. Look at the math numbers at the bottom.
You know
look
what
at the
worries
science
me
numbers.
about that is the kids who actually are doing good. Like
Right.
their curriculum now is going to be held back a little bit.
Right.
It's not going to be as challenged because they want to try to meet the kids where they are. Right?
Yep. So this is what they're blaming Tom Duggan for? Because Tom Duggan doesn't teach in the schools. I don't write policies. I don't vote on budgets. This is Tom Duggan's fault.
These numbers should be like consistent with the state taking over, right?
This should be backwards. It should be 73% of the kids can read, can do math.
Like Andover.
70% of the kids, right, like Andover, can read. But they preach DEI. They preach diversity, equity, and inclusion while they're not teaching math. And how does that work out, by the way? Anybody want to guess what the number of white teachers are in Methuen when 48%, I think, are Latino? 48% of the kids are Latino. I might be off a little bit on that number, but it's about 48% are Latino. 94% of the teachers are white. And the other is not Latino or black. It's like Asian and other stuff. It's mixed race. It's other things. It's not Latino. It's not black. All right? And this is the result. This is the result of talking about diversity and equity and inclusion and anal sex and masturbation and the chocolate Indian factory and all the other crap that they talk about in school. And Donald Trump is a fascist and Donald Trump is a Nazi. But you know what they're not doing? They're not teaching kids how to fucking read. So when the city council saw my show where we showed these numbers, and by the way, Laurie Keegan said these numbers were a lie.
What?
Laurie Keegan said these numbers were a lie. Dan Shabilia said these numbers were a lie. And if they are a lie, that's because your superintendent lied to the Department of Education, because that's where we got these numbers. So imagine your kid goes to the Methuen schools. Actually, you don't have to imagine. Intern girl, your kids do go to the Methuen schools.
I actually made a post where I said he received high honors, but at the same time, like, is he even being challenged enough?
Right.
You know, I'm not saying that he's not capable of, but I'm saying
he got
that
high honors, but with
all A's.
With the standards like this, does it really mean anything? Right?
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything.
Right, because we all know that even though 70% of the kids can't read, they're getting pushed on to the next grade.
They are.
They're not holding back 70% of the kids because they can't read at grade level. When I was growing up, if you didn't pass your classes, you didn't go to the next grade. But they won't do that. Because if they do that, they have to admit they're the failure. They're the failure. The superintendent and the superintendent's administration is the failure. And now the fun part. Now that you've seen how crazy these people are, now that you're looking at the numbers, I'm going to pull this up again a couple of times as we go. Because just to remind you, because some of these school Nazis, they love to throw out numbers. They love to throw out statistics. And they do it to distract you. Mary Beth Donovan, who's probably one of the nicest people on the school committee, like as a human being. Like I don't dislike most of these people individually, just that they're wrong about everything that they're doing politically. But Mary Beth Donovan got up there, and we're gonna I think she's like 5th or 6th on the list.
Okay.
And she's gonna throw some numbers at you to deceive you, to make you believe that these numbers aren't what they are. But I'm gonna break down the numbers she gives you, and then we're gonna pull this up.
Okay.
And it's gonna shock you guys. So there's one video we're going to take out of order, okay? So they had public participation. The city council decided we're going to take, thanks to Frank Cirillo, who had the balls after watching my show to say,
He's watching.
Izzy, we need to take a vote of no confidence in the superintendent. And you will notice that every single school Nazi that got up that defended Brandy Kwong said, this is not within your purview. You have no right. I'm sorry. I didn't read in the Constitution that you lose your constitutional right to have an opinion on something when you get elected to a city council. Nick DeZoglio said it. Laurie Keegan said it. Heather Plunkett said it. Jay Jalbert said it. Cara Blatt said it. They all said it, every single one of them, even though this was not a coordinated effort. They all made the exact same talking points. Every single person that spoke in favor of Brandy Kwong, the superintendent, every single one of them, made the exact same points, but it wasn't coordinated. They all used the exact same phrases, but it wasn't coordinated. And as we move forward now, and I show you some of these, I want you to remember something else. There was supposed to be a school committee meeting that night. They didn't have a quorum to meet, to make the education, to make these numbers better. They canceled their meeting because they didn't have enough members to go to the school committee meeting to make these numbers better, because they had to go to a city council meeting to defend their political hack insider friend Brandy Kwong. So think about that for a minute. You've got kids in the schools. How does that make you feel about, this should be about the kids.
Yep. And about these scores.
And about these
numbers,
scores.
How to make it better.
Right.
Finding solutions.
Right.
But they want to make everything political.
Well, because if they're talking about Brandy Kwong, and they're talking about politics, and they're talking about anal sex, and they're talking about Trump being a fascist, and they're talking about book banning, you know what they're not talking about? They're not talking about this. I always forget it's backwards. They're not talking about this.
Did you see DJ's post, I think yesterday?
I did not.
He made a comment about the city council being, like, you know, not okay with Neely Soto's remarks, and how they should be working together to make this better and not to make everything political.
How he was not okay with Nelly Soto's remarks? Yeah, of course not.
Yeah, he made like a post
He's squishy.
about it. Yeah.
He's squishy. He's a sissy. He's just squishy. Like, he wants everyone to get along, and it doesn't matter that
they want to make it all political, that they should be, you know, thinking about the kids
Right, we
and
should
this
sweep
and that.
translation.
He's agreeing with
Right,
the other.
translation, we should sweep everything under the rug, because if we say mean things, it makes us look bad. Right, because who's the mayor? Who's chairman of the school committee while this is going on? Mm-hmm. It's DJ Beauregard. He sat there and he let Heather Plunkett talk for 8 minutes about a guy who lives in North Andover and has no say at all over these numbers. He allowed that.
And she talked about ICE and
he came on this show and he said, I attacked Laurie Keegan's kid for being trans, which is a total lie. He never took it back. I proved that it was a lie. He never took it back. He never publicly admonished the people who lied to him about it because he never actually bothered to read my column. He just went by what Dan Shabilia had told him and Kelsey Shabilia told him.
He's following this crew. He's giving them power.
So it's 100% right.
He's empowering them. What about us, the people that don't agree with that? The people that are afraid to speak up because then we get bullied by people like that. Look at me.
Right.
Look at me.
Right. We got to run you for school committee. You're making better points than the fucking mayor of Methuen. Seriously.
I don't know. We'll see. All right. What's next?
All right. So I'm taking one out of order because with all of the
Number one?
political hacks, let me pull up my my folder
I
here.
have 001 next.
I just want to make sure.
It's her again, but on this week's meeting.
So I just want to make sure. So I don't have the. Is it the woman with the white shirt?
No, it's her again.
It's Heather again?
Yes, it's Heather again.
No, I want the one that says OOB 000B Sped Mother is what we start
Got
with.
it. I got it.
Okay, so I'm taking this out of order because as we go forward after this, you're going to see all the political hacks. It's Heather Plunkett. It's all those other people. But in all of this, there was one voice of sanity. In all of this, there was one woman who got up, and I didn't bring the whole thing because otherwise we'd have a 4-hour show instead of a 1-hour show, or an hour and a half show, right?
2-hour.
2-hour show. But there was one parent, and you could tell, and you're going to see the stark difference between this genuine parent. Now, Heather Plunkett's a parent. Jay Jalbert's a parent. But here's the difference. They go to every meeting and speak on every issue to defend the administration. This is a parent that never shows up at a meeting. We've never seen her at a meeting.
And then they have numbers like these.
Right. And this parent got up, and she's the mother of a special ed kid, and she said a couple of things that were really, really, I thought, not only disturbing, but very brave to say out loud.
I don't know whether this does come from the top. I have had less than pleasant experiences with Brandy and the assistant superintendent, ongoing since September. Prior to this, my experience with the Methuen Public Schools has been phenomenal, specifically the Branch Street location for the preschool. It was very disappointing since the beginning of this school year, the experience that my child, who is autistic, has had with his first year in kindergarten. He has no teacher. He has not had a special education teacher since October 14th. I was told, and this is info from Brandy and Gina, which almost seems scripted. Let me also mention that I am the secretary on the CPAC board. They have no magic wand to fix this. This is word for word, no magic wand. I don't care if you have to go to Disneyland to get your magic wand. Figure it out, this is my kid.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know whether that constitutes a vote of no confidence, whether or not it does. This is what is going on in our school system. I emailed the school committee. I only received a response from 3 school committee members to offer assistance. I'm not going to name them here today.
I'll name them.
But I only received a response from 3 school committee members. What are we going to do for these kids who don't have services? My child has no teacher. This is parent-teacher conferences this week. What teacher am I having a conference with?
Wow.
I've only heard from speech. To touch on, again, that second public participation, I think that you guys are going to find this district with a lot of lawsuits. I think you are going to be met with more than just that one that came through. Maybe from me.
Wow.
This is unacceptable.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that you don't want them to get involved at the state level like other districts, but sometimes that's what it takes because you don't have the support here.
Right.
Now,
my heart broke for that parent. In fact, I wish I could get a contact number for her and get her on this show. I would give her an entire hour to just talk. I would ask her 3 questions, just sit back and let her talk.
Someone said you need to get her on the show. Marie Thibodeau.
100%. Let's get her on the show if we can find a way to get her on. If Kristen Maxwell can, So she said she's talked to 3 school committee members, and she didn't want to mention them. I don't know for sure who the 3 were, but I bet I could guess. I bet I could guess the 3 that actually got back to her, because it's the same 3 that get back to everybody when the rest of the school committee doesn't give a shit. It's Kristen Maxwell, Ken Willett, and Ryan DiZoglio. Now, I might be wrong about one. Maybe Martha. I'm sorry. I always call her Martha, and I just want to apologize to both Martha and Mary Beth. I always do that because they both start with M. Maybe Mary Beth got back to them. But I know for sure it was not going to be Laurie Keegan. I know for sure it was not going to be DJ Beauregard. I know for sure it was not Dan Shabilia. She had 3 school committee members that got back to her about a special needs kid who doesn't have a teacher. Wow. So they're up there. The city council is taking a vote of no confidence in the superintendent. The school committee gave her a glowing recommendation when this mother's kid, special needs kid, doesn't have a teacher. How much money is the Methuen school spending on special ed?
I think that's the most money they spend.
Millions. Where's the money going, Brandy Kwong? Where is the money going, Dan Shabilia? Where is the money going, Laurie Keegan, Laurie/Larry Keegan? And don't give me crap about calling her Larry, because I want to make sure that I don't misgender her. Because that's their standard. I want to make sure I follow their standard. But Jesus Christ, you've got a parent that gets up at a city council meeting who has spoken before I think she said she spoke once before the city school committee meeting, and no one can. She wrote a letter to everyone in the school committee, and only 3 of 7 people returned her communication. And then she said, and this is the best part, that it's going to be more than just the one lawsuit that got filed. We don't even know about that one lawsuit. That we need to know about. I want all my school board members and all the people that I know in the schools to get me that information.
How can you find out? Shouldn't that be public?
It should be. The public filing should certainly be public.
Okay.
We definitely need to look at that. And then she said, and maybe me. There's going to be a lot more, and maybe me. Well, we have lawyers that might be able to help her out with that.
Well, we need her information. Do you know her name?
She said it at the beginning. I can go back and I can get it. She said it at the beginning. But my heart broke for her because, she's not someone who's political. She's not running for office. She didn't even get up there and say, yeah, you should, because of all this, you should throw Brandy under the bus and vote no confidence. She was just like, I don't know if this qualifies, because she wasn't there to make a political statement. She was there, got to do it quick. She was there because she loves her kid. And her son, who's autistic, is sitting in a classroom with no teacher. And Laurie Keegan has the nerve to get up at a city council meeting and say Brandy Kwong is, by the way, wait till you see this. She says, Brandy Kwong is the hardest working city employee in Methuen. Not the guys who run into fires. Not the firefighters that run into fires and pull babies out of fires. They're not. She's harder working than them. Brandy Kwong's better than them. Brandy Kwong's better than the Methuen police officers that get shot at every day. And that's how you know they're full of shit. That's how you know that these people will get up there and literally lie and say anything to get what they want. And what they're really upset about, what they're most upset about, is that Nellie Soto got up at a school committee meeting. First of all, she went into their house and she put it in front of them, which was great. You got to give her credit for that. A lot of credit. But secondly, she said the quiet part finally out loud that maybe after decades of underperformance and decades of systemic failures in the Methuen schools, maybe it's time that Methuen goes into receivership. And they lost their shit. You know why they lost their shit? It's funny how people who are woke liberals who love big government, they want more taxes, more government control. They want the schools to be the parents. They want the schools to teach about sex. They want the schools to teach about all these other things. What they don't want is for state control of the schools. You know why? Because that takes away their control. So they're all for more government control unless you're taking power away from them. Then it's not good. Then that's a bad thing. That's a horrible thing. All right. I killed enough time, intern. Go ahead.
It's so cold in here. That's why.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's all right.
You can turn it down a little bit if you
I did.
want.
I
But
already
it does help me breathe, though.
Oh, okay.
I love the cold.
Yeah, but it's 60 degrees.
So I feel so bad for that parent. I would have her on. I would give her I would pay the extra hour and give her 2 hours if she wanted to talk about all the things that she had to deal with. And she also said one more thing, then we move on. She said, it's almost scripted. When you talk to them, it's almost scripted. You think? Everything is scripted with these people. Everything is scripted with Dan Shabilia. Everything is scripted with Laurie Keegan. Everything is scripted with Mary Beth Donovan, Heather Plunkett, Jade Jalbert. I could go right down the line. All of it is coordinated. All of it is scripted because they're all full of shit. They're all dooming children to failure while they're making money. The superintendent's making, you know, the school committee not only gave her a glowing recommendation with those numbers that we showed you, and they gave her a glowing recommendation with a kid in a sped class with no teacher. She got a glowing recommendation with those numbers. Not only that, but they offered her a 3-year contract that gave her almost $1 million in raises over 3 years. $1 million. $1 million. That's right.
Who is she related to?
Over 3 years.
She related to someone?
No, she's just hiring everybody's friends. She's taking care of everybody. Jade Jalbert gets up at every meeting. Why? Because she gave Jade Jalbert's husband a job as the head of IT. So now she's got a permanent defender at every single public meeting. She's got her own PR department by hiring Jade Jalbert's husband.
And she's using the attorney, right?
Oh, yeah, we'll get to that, too. I mean, that's just disgraceful. What's our next one? So we
have Heather again.
Oh, we're back to Heather. Isn't this great? She's the gift that keeps on giving.
Right?
Yep, sure.
You guys have full-time jobs. And just like everybody else, that's how we get our insurance. Unfortunately, I'm down for single payer.
Yeah, because you're a communist.
Next is the vote of no confidence for a superintendent.
Right.
Dr. Kwong has already resigned.
No, she hasn't.
Surely you've heard of the saying, closing the barn door after the horse.
So you're going to stop it right out of the gate. You're going to stop it.
Are you just wanting to, yell into the empty barn?
Like right out of the gate.
Oh.
Right out of the gate, you've got to stop it because they all, again, said the same thing. She's already resigned. So why are you doing this? She's already resigned. She's not gone. She's never gone.
When is she leaving?
The end of the school year in June. So they keep, person after person got up and said, but she's already resigned. She's already gone. You're yelling into the empty barn with the barn door closed. No, the horse is still in the fucking barn. She's still here. And look at the damage that she can do from December to June with these numbers. Do you think these numbers are going to get better from December to June? I bet they're not.
Nope.
Listen, I would love to be wrong.
We have classes with no teachers.
We have classes with no teachers. Special ed classes.
Ay, Dios.
Dios mío. Dios mío.
mío. You want me to play it? Keep playing?
You guys have full-time jobs. And just like everybody else, that's how we get our insurance. Unfortunately,
Tom.
Surely you've heard of the saying, closing the barn door after the horse got out, right? Are you just wanting to, yell into the empty barn with your vote of no confidence? And if so, why?
Look at the back person laughing.
Do you think a public display of yelling into the empty barn could have a negative impact on the hiring process of the next superintendent?
No.
I'm just not sure I understand why anyone who, feels the need to publicly declare you don't like someone being here when they've already left. It makes no sense. And speaking of things that make no sense, I would love to understand why Councilmember Soto spoke publicly at a school committee meeting saying that perhaps receivership is the best outcome for our school district.
Right.
I would think her capacity as an experienced real estate agent would suggest that having such an outcome could negatively impact the market value of our homes in Methuen and would also cause our talented
Nothing like
teachers
personally
to search for
attacking
teaching
people, huh?
positions elsewhere. But even if she wasn't a realtor and didn't realize the negative impact of receivership, why would any elected official want the power to make decisions for their community taken away from them and their elected counterparts and put into the hands of the state? That's like someone who's afraid to drive, taking a job as a big city bus driver. It doesn't make sense. None of these agenda items or that comment makes sense. And as a resident,
Not if you're
I would
a communist.
really love to understand the purpose behind each one. Thank you.
Oh, pick me. I know. Oh, Mr. Cotter, I know.
What?
So she says, I want to know why you would want to take this job and then hand control over to the state. Maybe because they care more about the kids than power? unlike you and Dan Shabilia and Laurie Keegan and Mary Beth Donovan, maybe they care more about these numbers than they care about political power. Heather Plunkett. So she can't, it's beyond her comprehension why someone would run for a position of power and then give away power. And maybe because it's not about power for them. It's about power for you. It's about power for Jay Jalbert and Dan Shabilia and Laurie Keegan. It's about power for them, but it's not about power for the city council, because if it was about power for the city council, and by the way, it is for DJ Beauregard too, because if it was about power for the city council, this makes Methuen look really bad. This does strip them of some of their power and some of their credibility. I agree with some of that, not all of it. I agree with some of that. But maybe it's because they're looking at this. Maybe it's because they're looking at the 70% of kids who can't read. And maybe they care more about those kids than they care about the political hacks who are making money pretending that they're educating these kids when 70% can't read. Oh, I'm sure they can read. 7th grade is reading at a 1st grade level, but that's still not really reading. They're not reading at grade level, which as far as I'm concerned means they can't read. Well, after Heather Plunkett, after our star pupil today, finished with her nonsense, which she just can't figure it out. Just can't figure it out. Well, now we got Larry Keegan. Larry Keegan gets up to the microphone, and this is really fun.
When our schools are nowhere near qualifying for receivership. That's how we get our insurance.
You have too many at once.
Secondary education.
We don't have that option. Next is the...
All right, yeah, got to kill
When
her.
our schools are nowhere near qualifying for receivership. The Department of Elementary and Secondary Education has categorized Methuen as not requiring assistance or intervention based on our moderate progress towards targets. There is no basis for state involvement. So what benefit would come from receivership if not to the people of Methuen or the city as a whole? No one would say such an outlandish thing that is not based in facts if there weren't some sort of personal benefit.
Ooh.
So what benefit are you getting by using your elected position to actively attempt to harm the people of Methuen?
Wow, that's not personal attack. That's not a personal attack.
What is it?
Tom Duggan's a bad person. He makes personal attacks and calls us groomers, but you're selling your vote. You're getting a personal benefit. So Patricia Valley is a real estate woman, and you know this, and Nellie Soto is a real estate woman, and Ron Marchand's a construction guy. And if property values go down in Methuen, they lose money.
Yeah.
So how do they get a personal benefit, Larry Keegan?
I like how you saved all of her videos under Larry Keegan. I hate you. I hate you. Oh,
Wow. Yes. Wow. And then she talks about things like, so this is another thing that political hacks like to do. They use these phrases that nobody at home really knows what it means, but it sounds good. So she made the comment that that the Department of Education says that we don't qualify for receivership because we've made moderate progress toward targets. You know what that means?
What?
Nothing. It doesn't mean anything. It's just a bunch of words strewn together. It's Kamala Harris again.
What is wrong with the state taking over?
So, I mean, I'm not a big fan of the state taking over school systems in general.
Needed.
But if any school system needed it, I would say Methuen probably does need it.
Yeah.
The problem is that you're turning the school system over to a bunch of education elites who are worse than the people who are in charge now. And
it helped Lawrence,
we saw.
right?
I don't think so. I think Lawrence is worse off now than they were when the state took over.
Really?
And so I understand. Listen, here's the thing. I think people are going to interpret that I'm for state receivership. I'm certainly for having the discussion. I think scaring the shit out of the people who run that school system by threatening receivership certainly can get us a lot further down the road than not doing that. However, I don't know. I have not made a decision whether I'm in favor of receivership in the Methuen schools or not. I tend to think yes. I'm leaning, given all the foolishness that we're seeing, I'm tending to think that maybe a short-term receivership situation might help.
Short-term?
But, well, that's the problem is once the camel's nose is in the tent, you never get rid of him, right?
Yeah. Lawrence has been, 14 years now?
Yeah, 11. Is it 14? That was
Since 2011, no?
Oh, you could be
I
right.
think so. I'm not
right.
quite sure.
All right, we got 3 more Larry Keegans.
Oh my God, Tom, stop.
I'm sorry.
Methuen. When you figure out that our schools weren't anywhere eligible for receivership, all of a sudden, a vote of no confidence for the superintendent sneakily appears on a special meeting with no public participation on the agenda at the same time as a school committee meeting. Never did this body reach out to the body that has supervision of the superintendent. Instead, you created a resolution with lies and false accusations to disparage and defame the hardest working employee in the city. Let's take it back.
The hardest working employee in the city, not the guys that are getting shot at every day over on Arlington Street, not the firefighters running into burning buildings and pulling elderly people out of burning buildings. She works way harder than they do. She's the best. She's awesome. You know why? Because when I sit down with her and I talk to her about trans rights, she will allow boys to go into girls' bathrooms and sexually molest them. So she's the best. She's better than cops getting shot at.
They have no idea what they're fighting for.
They really don't.
They're just fighting.
Yeah, they're fighting.
They're fighting.
And here's the other thing. She and everyone else that got up there made mention of the fact that there's no public participation. What the fuck are you doing? What are you doing right now while you're saying that out loud into a microphone at public participation? You're at public participation claiming there's no public participation. This is like white people. This is like these woke white college idiots who talk about how white people are ruining the country. And they're so brainwashed that they don't realize they're talking about themselves. And this is the same thing. It's this same woke mind virus that these people have that they just don't get. They don't get that everything that they're saying is directly contradicted by everything else that they're saying. And so she gets up at public participation, as did several others, and complain that there's no public participation. Well, then how do we know? Then how are you speaking? Like, why isn't the city council voting on stuff while you're up at the microphone talking if there's no public participation? Let's keep going. This is where it starts to get fun.
26 gateway cities in Massachusetts that the Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education groups Methuen with. According to the data from the U.S. News and World Report that you cite in the resolution, when comparing Methuen to the 26 gateway cities, we rank 7th in high school reading scores, 10th in high school math scores, 3rd in high school graduation rate, and 6th in high school college readiness. Additionally, we rank 7th in elementary reading scores and 8th in middle school reading scores. Our schools are not failing. Let's talk about the 28.6% high school college readiness rating. This, in fact, has nothing to do with MCAS scores, as the resolution states. Please go to the U.S. News and World Report's website, referenced in the resolution, and click on the information button next to this number. This, in fact, is the percentage of students passing with a 3 or better on an AP exam, thus doing college work in high school.
Wow. So let's break down those numbers, huh?
I want to put
you got to put that back up because now this is lying by statistics, right? You got lies, damn lies, and statistics.
Yep.
And so she gets up and she talks about the 28.6% of kids that can do college readiness. 28.6. So I guess what you're saying is, well, let's look at those numbers in the red boxes over there on the far right. I guess what you're saying is that 28% of the kids are actually doing good enough that they might be able to get into college, and everyone else can't fucking read.
Wait, 28% she's saying?
28.
She's defending that.
Right. 28%, and that's, how could you possibly say Brandy Kwong's not doing her job when 28% of the kids are doing really good? You guys got to see Indigo. She's on the floor. She's laughing so hard she's actually on the floor. She went right off the chair. 28%. How could you possibly say that my car factory is a bad car factory when 28% of our cars coming off the line can drive? 28% of the cars that we produce in Detroit actually can drive. How could you possibly call us a failure? How dare you? How dare you? Right? Wow.
I can't believe she used that to defend herself, though.
What do you got for? I keep losing my thing here. What do you have for the next one?
For the next video,
there's not many left. If you hung in with us this long, there's not many left.
We have purview.
Oh, this is a good one too. This is another thing that every single person said, even though it was not a coordinated effort.
All right, let's go.
Are able to pass an AP exam and receive college credit in high school. And this is one of your reasons to vote no confidence in the superintendent?
Yes, exactly.
You don't even know what your resolution is talking about.
No, you don't know what it's talking about.
Who is taking credit for writing a no confidence vote for someone outside of your purview, and with the reasoning that 28.6% of our students are able to do college work
outside of your purview?
This baseless rhetoric needs to stop. You are harming our community. The school committee by law is the only body that evaluates the superintendent. We follow the state evaluation process, and she has been evaluated to be overall proficient every year she has been superintendent.
That's the problem.
Dr. Kwong has my full support and confidence. The attacks, personal grudges, and vendettas that are trying to ruin her and her reputation must stop. Dr. Kwong has served this community well and with the utmost integrity. To suggest otherwise is a false narrative based on lies and unsupported.
She needs to get the Nobel Peace Prize. She brought peace to the Middle East. She's the best.
All hail, what is it, Brandy?
All hail Brandy. Jesus Christ. The amount of flowers that they throw at this woman's feet, you would think that she personally, you would think that this woman donated a kidney this morning to children because she just loves them so much. Now, she starts off with, this is not within your purview. This is another one of those memorized talking points that tyrants always like to use. What does that mean, it's not within your purview? What she's trying to say is that they don't have any legal right. And this is, by the way, Brandy Kwong used the school committee lawyer to send a letter to the city council threatening a lawsuit, which, by the way, from my reading of the law, is totally illegal. I don't know why the lawyer allowed that. I don't know why the school committee's not, even the school committee members that like her, I don't know why they're not pushing back on that. But what they're trying to say is that the city council has no legal right. I want you to think about that. No legal right to take a vote of no confidence in the superintendent, as if they lost their First Amendment right of the Constitution the minute they got elected. They have every right. Not only do they have a right just to give their opinion about it, but from my memory, and I'm pretty good at this stuff, is every year when the school budget gets passed by the school committee before it can be legal, it has to be voted on by the city council. They get a say. They have every right. It is within their purview. Now, what's not within their purview is voting on her contract. They can't fire her. They can't mandate her to stop talking about anal sex in the classroom. But they can certainly not vote for her budget, which I've encouraged every city council to do. My recommendation to every city council coming in January is that come June, when the school department budget comes before you, don't be emotionally manipulated by the teachers and the kids that get pushed up to public participation to emotionally manipulate you about Dr. Tibbetts is the greatest teacher ever and he's going to lose his job and he may change my life. Don't fall for any of that. Okay? This is my recommendation as someone who sat on the school committee and sees how this foolishness happens. Level fund their budget in June. Don't give them another fucking penny. Whatever their budget is this year, don't give them another penny until those numbers change. And when they can show that they can move those numbers, because the only thing that motivates these people is money. The only thing that motivates these people is money. So if you really want to change the numbers of 70% of kids in Methuen not being able to read, hold back the money.
I know. Why are they getting, rewarded?
Millions and millions of dollars for the SPED program while a kid's got no teacher. Let it sink in. Think about it when you're laying in bed tonight before you drift off to sleep, that if you did that in your job, whatever job you have, if you work in a law office, you work in a pizza shop, if 70% of the pizzas that you made, that you sent out for delivery, people called and said it's cold, there isn't enough cheese on it, it's square instead of round, it was upside down in the box. If 70% of the pizzas that you made, your pizza shop would close. And if 70% of the cars that you made didn't drive, you wouldn't just be out of business, you'd be in jail for fraud. And quite frankly, I think you guys all know the road that I'd go down when we start talking about that stuff. I'm a zero tolerance policy guy when it comes to educators taking our money, telling us they're doing a certain job, and then not doing it. But just imagine. The other thing that she said here that I want to touch on real quick is, and I didn't write down the exact numbers, but she said, when we compare Methuen, when U.S. News and World Report compares Methuen to other gateway cities, see, it's all in the premise. The lie is always in the premise. Then she starts with, we're in first in 7th grade reading and third in 4th grade math, or whatever it was that she said, right? But it's all in the premise of gateway cities. Pull that thing back up again. Because here's the difference. This is comparing what's going on in the schools to what's going on in the schools. These are the real numbers. You can compare this to what's going on in Holyoke and go, wow, look, Holyoke only has 10% of the kids reading at grade level. We're third when you compare us to gateway cities. What are gateway cities? Gateway cities, almost all of the gateway cities are majority minority communities. Lawrence, Haverhill, Holyoke, Fall River, those are gateway communities. Lowell. Those are gateway communities where the majority, where 70 to 80% of the kids are Latino. Those are your gateway communities. Methuen is still only 40%, 45% Latino. So, yeah, look, we're doing great. We're in third. You notice she didn't give you hard numbers. She gave you percentages of compared to other communities that suck.
Ratings, yeah.
So we suck less than Fall River. We suck less than Holyoke. We suck less than Haverhill. So we're just doing fine. How dare you say we have no... How dare you say Brandy Kwong isn't doing her job? How dare you? When you compare us to other communities that suck more. Because we suck less. But none of those percent, and Mary Beth Donovan's going to do this in a minute, but none of those numbers that they can cite from U.S. News and World Report comparing us to gateway cities, that again, it's all in the premise. It's all in the language that they're using to deceive you, to make you think it's one way when it's really the opposite. These numbers don't fucking lie. These numbers are the real numbers. And we know they're the real numbers because it came from them. They can't run away from this. These are their numbers. So Larry Keegan can get up there and talk about U.S. News and World Report comparing them to Fall River. You can compare them to Holyoke. But that doesn't change any of this. When 7 out of 10 kids in Methuen can't read, on top of the fact that you're spending $131 million on your school system, which is 19% above the U.S. average, not just the state average, the country's average. That includes California. You know how much money they spend in California on education? It's like 2/3 of their budget. Damn. And this is higher. What else? What do we got? We still have a few more. All right, so we have Ryan DeZago. So I want to say a couple things about this real quick. So Ryan... he's getting better. I got to say he's getting better. I was a little frustrated by his speech. I cut off the end where he ended up. So he did what we call a poop sandwich. Okay. Right? So he started off saying all the right things, but then because he doesn't really have a lot of courage when it comes to this kind of stuff, and I attribute it to his age, and maybe I shouldn't, but I attribute it to his age. I think I like Ryan a lot. And I think Ryan doesn't like conflict. I think he's one of these people that's conflict avoidant. I think he doesn't like to hurt people's feelings. So he got up there and he basically said, and you're going to see it for yourself, he basically said, Brandy Kwong sucks. She does a horrible job. If I had my way, I'd replace her tomorrow. But you shouldn't take a vote of no confidence. Like, that's kind of how it worked. Okay. And I just kind of want you to see. But he said some very interesting things that nobody can run away from.
As the fact that I am a school committee member, speaking on behalf of 2 issues. I'm going to talk with the no confidence. I get it. There are things in the past year where the council has been involved to fund us money to clean up our schools. And I agree. There are certain mismanagement that has been done on the school side and the figure of that. But overall, we have made strides in different things in the schools. But I think what's being hung up on in the last year, which if you watched many school committee member meetings, I've spoken against the superintendent. about not holding her admin accountable for those actions. But also you should have heard that also when it comes to the mice issue, and I wanted to be speaking very clearly, we had the health inspectors at our meeting where they were told not to tell Dr. Kwong what was going on in the schools, all right, by previous administrations. And so I think you're right, but then with those management, she should have held those people that kept those secrets from her accountable.
Right.
And she didn't.
Right.
Which I totally agree with all.
Right. However, here's what we kills her.
She's already resigned.
No, she hasn't.
So why kick someone when they're already
Because she's not gone.
She's leaving. All right? She's done her service here, and let her go. And by voting no confidence on her, you're not achieving anything.
Sure they are.
What you're doing is if she walks out tomorrow, you're going to put the schools in more of a problem.
No, you're not.
Where are we going to find anybody?
So where are you going to find anybody? There's no way we could find somebody that we could make interim superintendent till we find somebody. There's nobody in the Merrimack Valley that's a retired superintendent of schools, Jim Scully. There's no former superintendents out there there's no former assistant superintendents out there. There's no former principals out there, Mike Downs. There's nobody out there that could run this school system, nobody. If she leaves, we're just going to have nothing. Boy, that's the dumbest argument I've ever heard. Well, it's not the dumbest because Dan Shabilia is coming up. And
I can't wait to see what the decision was.
I don't have the video. I didn't bring the video of the decision.
Damn. Okay.
By the way, it was a 5-2.
No confidence.
5-2, no confidence against Brandy Kwong and Nick DiZoglio. And because we're way over time, I'm not going to play his video. But Nick DiZoglio got up and he did what he always does. He always will shill for the tyrant. He voted for. He sat there at the meeting about Joel Ferretra, and then defended Joel Ferretra with every lie he could come up with, every excuse. Oh, maybe it was a vacation home in Manchester, New Hampshire, in downtown. Maybe it was investment property, even though the mortgage agreement says primary residence. Maybe we don't know. It could be kind of,
Is that primary residence?
Yeah, that's what it says.
Like what is it? The district attorney general in New York. That's what she did too.
Right. Primary residence. Right.
We have Kristen Maxwell next.
Yeah, we're wrapping this up. So I know a lot of you guys have been hanging in with us, and I appreciate that. By the way, the fun does not stop. We do have a couple of really good clips coming up.
Okay.
So this is Kristen Maxwell, the only member of the school committee. Well, that's not true because Ryan did say he did talk about her deficiencies, and then like I said, it's the poop sandwich. And it was like, and I think that's the influence of Nick, right? It's like if they weren't brothers, Ryan would be so much better. But he's got Nick Nick is like Mike Samad. Like, he never met a tyrant that he wouldn't find an excuse to defend.
I feel like there's some people there that just going against everything you say.
Right.
Like, that's their job.
Yeah.
Like, you can say something that's
they
right
and
resonates with them, but they will always go against what you say.
They will always go with the insiders. Given the choice between going with the insiders and not going with the insiders, they see themselves as the elite ruling class. And that they see their peers as the inside political hacks, not the kids in the classroom, 70% of which can't read. They don't identify with the mother that got up and said, my kid has no teacher. That's not who Nick identifies with. Nick identifies with the superintendent, the assistant superintendent, the insiders, the ruling class. That's who he sees himself with. And if Ryan was just not influenced by his brother so much, he would be so much better. And he's getting better. Like, he's getting better. I'm looking forward to him being on the city council. I think he's going to be so much better than Nick.
You want to play Kristen?
Let's show Kristen. So Kristen is the only school board member that got up and said, yes, you should take a vote of no confidence in superintendent. And she let out a couple of interesting points that I think most people have not really heard yet.
Within the school committee. But tonight I'm speaking only on my behalf. My comments should not be interpreted as the position of the school committee as a whole. I want to be clear that if we're calling for accountability, it must apply to all leadership. I support the vote of no confidence in the superintendent, Brandy Kwong. And I also support amending this vote to include the current school committee.
Wow.
Families deserve leadership that is transparent, responsive, and willing to own the outcomes of the past several years. This isn't personal. This is about people not doing their job.
Right.
Many of the concerns in this resolution aren't new. For years, I raised the same concerns when I was just another mom. The concerns are still the same. The only difference is that it's different parents and different students. Those concerns include student safety, building concerns, bullying, lack of academic support, poor communication, and low staff morale. Year after year, Methuen has failed to meet state improvement targets in academic performance, chronic absenteeism, and graduation targets, despite increased spending and 7 years under the same leadership. Staff stood at this very podium during this year's budget cycle, pointing out flaws and asked for help.
Right? Remember that?
Leadership. And leadership failed to act. Many teachers, parents, and students will never come to this podium. And not because they have nothing to say, but because they're afraid of retaliation. And they're afraid that they'll be publicly ridiculed in the same way that I often am for speaking up. That fear is why this council funded a $140,000 cultural audit. It was to give people a safe place to speak honestly. That feedback exists and has since July 18th. It's in the audit. The audit confirms what families have said for years. Failures in oversight, compliance, communication that align with the findings in this resolution. Instead of open discussion, names were redacted, drafts were resubmitted for edits, and the joint meeting to review it has been delayed repeatedly. The community paid for transparency and got redaction and delay instead.
Right.
For all these reasons, I support this vote. Our students only get one education. Every year we wait is a year they don't get back. This vote is about putting them first.
100%.
I've heard that there may be a discussion tonight about using an objection instead of taking a vote. I urge the council to have...
Now, so when Nick got up, and he, as a side note, Nick got up when he finally spoke. Yeah, I think he was one of two people that spoke on the council. He said, now there was a rumor, it was just a rumor, that I was going to do a charter objection. Now, a charter objection means whenever a public body is having a discussion, if somebody makes a charter objection, it means all conversation has to stop because that person believes that the conversation violates the charter. And then it can come back at the next meeting. It has to come back at the next meeting for discussion. Okay. So he's such a liar. He's such a liar. And I hate to say it that way because I actually do kind of like the guy, like outside of politics. I think he's not a bad guy. But he's so deceptive. He gets up and he goes, now there was a rumor that I was going to make a charter objection. You know where that rumor came from? Me. That's where the rumor came from. You know why? Because that's what he told me. He told me he was going to charter object. So I called several councilors and said, if you have a chance to talk to Nick before the meeting, please convince him not to do a charter objection so that we can have a public discussion about this issue now. While everybody's thinking about it, while it's on everybody's mind, while the numbers are what the numbers are, we know what those numbers are, let's have the discussion in public now. Please convince him not to do that. But then he gets up and pretends like it was never on the table. Oh, there was a rumor. There was a rumor. No, it wasn't a rumor. You were telling people, including me. And here's the other thing. I don't mind saying it out loud because I know Nick. And if Nick is telling me that, he's telling a whole bunch of other people that too. Nick's not stupid. So he told me that so that I would tell other people so he could deny it later on so I would have egg on my face with the counselors that I told. This is the backdoor game that Nick likes to play. Nick likes to play the backdoor game of, I'm going to tell you something that's not going to happen. But I'm going to convince you it's going to happen. So you're going to tell someone else that it's going to happen. And then when it doesn't happen, you look like shit with that person. That's the game that he likes to play. So let's take just a quick look at what she said. She talked about names being redacted. I've talked about that on this show quite a bit.
Why did you name the following video from this next one stupid?
No, there's one more after this, and then stupid. That's.
No, I have Kristen again, and then I have stupid.
Right.
Okay.
We'll get to that.
Okay.
The city council spent $140,000 on an audit of the school department, where they went in, the people that they hired. Now they could have hired me for $50,000. I could have told them the same exact thing, but these people went into the school system. They interviewed teachers and students and parents, administrators, principals, assistant principals, cafeteria workers, janitors, whoever works in the schools, and then they compiled a list of information about what was working and what was not working in the schools. And when it was done, Mary Beth Donovan, who's sitting on that committee, who was a principal up until last year, her name was in the audit report and not in a favorable way. So DJ Beauregard, who promised us transparency, who promised us he was going to release all of it, allowed Dan Shabilia and Laurie Keegan to play games behind the scenes with Brandy Kwong and send it back to the people who did it and redact the names of the people. Yes, redacted the names of the people who worked for the schools who are mentioned in the audit, not the people. See, we were supposed to redact the names of the people that they were interviewing. If a teacher said, I don't like the superintendent, here's why, that person's name should be redacted, but not the name of the person she's talking about, which would be the superintendent. So if somebody went in there and said, you know, Mary Beth Donovan was responsible for XYZ when she was the principal, I think of the Tenny, I don't remember which school it was, they should have redacted the name of the person who said it, not the name of the person she talked about. But now what they're doing is, now it's this 3-card Monty. Now it's, we're going to redact the names of who she talked about because we don't want anybody to lose their fucking job. We want to make sure that we protect.
And now she's on the committee.
Now she's sitting on the committee, and that's another reason why it had to be, because now she's voting on something she's in. You'll notice she hasn't had an awful lot to say about this. Yeah.
All right.
So Kristen is blowing the whistle on a lot of this shit. In July, we got that audit. They got the audit. Actually, before July, they got the audit. And they kept sending it back. And I got assurances from DJ Beauregard that they were going to fully release the audit and only redact the names of the people that were the witnesses that spoke, not who they spoke about. And they lied, and they lied, and they lied. And they are redacting names of administrators who are involved in scurrilous things. And by the way, if you have nothing to hide, why are you taking people? Why are you redacting names? I know people in education think that because they work with children that somehow they have privacy rights. You don't have privacy rights working for a school. You still get paid with public dollars. You don't have privacy rights. If you're an assistant superintendent, if you're a teacher, and you're accused of hitting a kid, you should be on the front page of the paper the same way as if you are a police officer in Lawrence. The same way as if you were a DPW worker in Andover. But these people think that they can just flout the law and flout the rules, and they can protect whoever they want because they work with children. It's sickening. Now, Kristen is going to make the point that I made earlier, but she makes it a lot better than I do, about the fact that why are we even here tonight?
I want to address something that may seem small, but it's actually very telling. Tonight, our school committee was scheduled to meet. That meeting was canceled around 1:45 p.m. today by Superintendent Kwong with the reason given there was a lack of quorum. But several committee members who have made up that quorum are sitting right behind me here in this room.
Right.
That's not a scheduling issue.
Right.
It's a sign of how dysfunctional our school system's governance has become. It's a testament to how much influence the superintendent holds over certain committee members. There was no lack of quorum. Anyone here can see that. There was a coordinated decision to show up to protect the superintendent, which is apparently more important than attending our own meeting and doing our job that we were elected to do.
Right.
Thank you.
Right. 100%. 100%.
I forgot which ones are
100%.
clapping.
Oh my God. Right.
Kristen, let's go.
Now you know
I like
why.
her.
Now you know why they hate her.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't go along and she doesn't follow the script. They all had a script up there. This is not within your purview. The barn is out. The barn is open. The horse is out of the barn. She's already leaving. She's already gone. Every single thing that Laurie Keegan said was said by every other school Nazi.
I bet it was the same printing paper. Same font.
I bet it was.
And same size.
I bet it was.
Probably was.
I bet it was. I bet it was written by somebody in the superintendent's office, and it was just passed out to everybody, and they just rewrote the words a little bit to make it look good. Because they all said the same stupid shit. And by the way, most of what they said was a lie. The fact that they gave you might have been true, but the conclusion they were trying to get you to draw from those facts are untrue. Just like when Laurie Keegan got up and said, well, when you compare us to the gateway cities, we're third in this and second in that and fourth in this. Right, like if you compare us to people that suck more, we're doing better.
Yeah.
But that doesn't.
You just don't suck as much.
Right, but that doesn't go to the fact that 70% of kids can't fucking read. Right? Like, no matter what you do with that number, no matter what they say at this meeting, and you know who said it the best was Jane Zani Pesci, the sexiest woman alive.
Ooh.
Right? So we have two real quick, and then we got to go. So Dan Shabilia got up, and everything he said was just it was like listening to Kamala Harris. It was like yesterday's tomorrow is today's past of the future of unencumbered by what can be. So I cut most of it because I knew this was going to be a long show, and if I'd had more time. And another show, I will bring it in, and we will mock him for all the foolishness that he said. But everything he said was ridiculous. He starts off with, everyone that spoke already said what I wanted to say. And I was sitting there going like, okay, then sit down. Like, if everything you wanted to say was said by other people, why are you going to keep talking? And the reason he kept talking is because that's Dan Shabilia. He needs to grandstand. He needs to get up there and get his time. I guarantee you, when he's out of office in January and he's off the school committee and he's not on the city council because the voters rejected him again, he's going to get up at every public participation, at every meeting, glomming for the camera because he desperately wants to be relevant.
They have Methuen 300 now.
Right? We're going to have Methuen 300 now. So there was one thing that he said, and he was talking about himself, and I couldn't understand why he did this, but there was one thing that he said about himself that I thought we would play for you.
Because everything I just read is 100% factually accurate. Wow. And anybody at home can Google it and see the facts. Doing that makes the city look stupid.
Stupid.
We need more of that. We can all dislike each other.
Stupid. You can cut that. I thought I had cut it for him just saying. I gave you the wrong clip on that one. It was supposed to be just him saying stupid. Stupid. Okay. We got to put that in rotation and just use that whenever something comes up on the show that's stupid. God. Stupid.
I love my job.
Oh, my God. This guy is the biggest buffoon I have ever seen in my life. This guy is just such a buffoon. And he got up there when he talked about Mass General Law. He starts off with, I don't need to tell you about Mass General Law, but I'm a lawyer, and there's other lawyers, but lawyers know stuff about lawyering. And so it was like, listen to Kamala Harris. He wasn't making any sense at all. And then he ends it with, it just makes you look stupid. Yeah, okay. Dan, you know what, Dan? Honestly, the voters got it right. Yeah. They usually do, and they got it right.
Yeah, they
and I'm so glad he's going into obscurity. And he's going to get up at every public meeting because he's desperate for attention. He's desperate for publicity. He really thinks he's the smartest guy in every room he walks into. But boy, let me tell you, that guy got up and he just repeated the same talking points, not within your purview. It's illegal. You have no say. She's the greatest ever. And I used to ask, stupid. And I used to ask really dumb questions, but she told me what the limitations are. No translation. She manipulated Dan Shabilia into believing he had no power. Just like they tried to manipulate Kristen Maxwell into believing that she had no power. And the difference is Kristen Maxwell was smart enough to reach out to other people that knew better and got herself an education about what kind of power she has as a school board member, while Dan Shabilia just caved because he's morally bankrupt. Like, he doesn't know the difference between right and wrong, yeah. So when he sees something wrong, he doesn't identify it as wrong. That Dan Shabilia has a lot more power than he thinks he has, and he has that power. And he doesn't think that he has that power because he allowed Brandy Kwong to manipulate him. Because he's morally bankrupt. If you don't have a moral compass, and there's a lot of people in this business that have no moral compass. They're not bad people per se, but they don't have a moral compass. So when a good person tells them something, they don't recognize it as good because they don't have that compass. They don't have the ability to see that this is bad on its face and this is good on its face just because, right? So...
we have Mary Beth, I think.
Oh, this is the best. I've been waiting for this all night. I've been waiting for this all day.
You want me to play it?
Yes.
Statements in the resolution are presented without context or accuracy or evidence. And I come with some good news. Our literacy benchmark data shows 77% of kindergarteners, 58% of fourth graders, and 73% of seventh graders are reading at grade level.
At grade level.
This does not align with the narrative being used to justify this vote. And I would be happy to share any additional information with folks who would like to have a conversation.
That's okay. I gotcha.
Let me be clear, Mr. Cirillo.
Yeah, be clear.
We do have some real problems in our schools.
You think?
And I agree with some of your concerns. Very much so. But we should be asking whether a symbolic divisive vote is the best use of our time, or whether our time.
Okay, so two things here. She says, I come with good news. And by the way, I actually like Mary Beth Dunneman a lot. We actually knew each other in a former life. The literacy benchmarks are 70%, 77% for kindergarten and 73% for 7th graders and 58% for 4th graders. So in 3 grades out of 12 grades, they're not doing horrible.
Well, 7th grade, right? My son's 7th grade. That's good. What are you doing? Oh.
I'm going to read it again. Here's what she thinks is wonderful. 58%, barely more than half, of 4th graders can read at grade level. Barely more than half, 58%. That's something that she's crowing about. 77% of kids in kindergarten's literacy rate. You know what a kindergarten's literacy rate is? M is for munchy mouth.
Yep.
So
3-letter words.
77% of the kids in kindergarten know that M is for munchy mouth. That's what they know.
Let's just do 3-letter words.
And 73% of 7th graders can read at grade level. So if you factor that in, these numbers are actually worse. Because these numbers are averages that bake in all the numbers that she gave you. She wants you to think that the numbers she gave you are separate and apart from these numbers. No, they're baked into these numbers.
How does she know those numbers?
Well, she's on the school committee.
Okay.
So she has access to it.
Okay.
Every member of the school committee has access to all the numbers, right? So why would she cherry pick? I have good news for you. We have 3 grades that aren't doing terrible. So I have no idea why you're taking a vote of no confidence in Brandy Kwong. Like it's Ripley's. Who could believe it? And then she said the real quiet part out loud. And I should have brought that in as a separate clip just so you could watch it again. Because it's what she said at the very beginning. Why are we wasting our time doing this? Is this the best use of our time? Well, I don't know. You had a school committee meeting tonight that you could have been at, that you could make these numbers different. You had a school committee meeting, Mary Beth Donovan, that you could have bet to spend your time helping kids learn how to fucking read. And you chose, I keep forgetting where the camera is, and you chose to go to a school city council meeting and shill for Brandy Kwong. You chose to sit there all night instead of advocating for kids in a school committee meeting. Instead of making policies that allow teachers to do their jobs better in the classroom. You decided to waste your time and go to a city council meeting and shill for a political hack. With all of your school Nazi friends. You all got into a circle and you all repeated the same failed, dishonest talking points. You threw out statistics to people to confuse everybody, to make them think these numbers aren't real. Laurie Keegan did it, you did it, Dan did it. Jay Jalbert did it. Heather Plunkett tried to do it, she wasn't smart enough to do it. But the rest of you did. Wow. Wow, from the likes of Mary Beth Donovan, one of the nicest ladies you'll ever meet in your life.
She works for the school, right?
And yet she did. Well, she was a principal.
No, now doesn't she work for the school?
Well, no,
Who works in the office?
She can't. No, that's Martha.
Martha. Okay.
Martha's going to take office in January. And by the way, I get a lot of shit kicked out of me over the last 6 months. Why aren't you going after Martha? What's her last name? Sorois. Martha McCarthy Sorois. Why aren't you going after Martha Sorois? She works for Brandy. Brandy recruited her to run for school committee, to help the school Nazis. They're all on the same team. That's what I get in my email inbox at least 3 times a week. And I'm going to tell you why. And I don't think I've talked about it on this show, but I'm going to tell you why I haven't done that. I believe, and I know it's one of my weaknesses, intern girl gives me crap about it all the time, but I believe you give everybody an individual chance to screw up on their own. You don't assume that someone's going to be something because it looks that way. You give them a chance to actually do it, then you criticize them. So I didn't want to criticize Martha McCarthy Sorois on her way in the door without knowing for sure that she was going to come in and be another Mary Beth Donovan, where they were going to be redacting information and holding things back from the public and circling the wagons and throwing out irrelevant statistics to make these numbers look like they're wrong when they're not. So I didn't do that. I didn't do it during the election. I know we talked about the party because we had to, because it was the superintendent doing something wrong, not Martha. And maybe Martha's going to get in and be another Mary Beth Donovan. Maybe she's going to get in and be another school Nazi. Maybe she will. And maybe she won't. Maybe she'll come in and she'll say, I've been dealing with this crap for the last 25 years in the school system, and I've had to keep my mouth quiet. And now that I'm on the school committee, now I'm going to be an independent person, and now I'm going to object in a way that's going to make a difference. Maybe she will. And I want to give her a chance, just like I gave Nick a chance when he first got elected, though there was no hope for him from the beginning. Just like I've given a lot of people. By the way, you know who else I gave a chance? Brandy Kwong. She's in her 7th year as superintendent. When did I ever talk about her on this show, in the newspaper, or on Facebook? Never. In the first 6 years of her superintendency, I never once went after her. I never once criticized her. I never once looked into her numbers. I gave her a chance, just like I give everybody a chance. Now, I know that's not my reputation, and I get that. But if anybody knows me and knows me well and deals with me one-on-one, knows that even Debo Brown, who had me arrested on false charges, I gave that guy more chances than he deserved. And so with Martha, yes, I'm getting the crap beat out of me, and I'll take it. I'm a big boy. That's fine. But I really believe that DJ should be given. I'm still giving DJ chances. I'm still giving DJ chances, even though he's the mayor when all this foolishness is going on. But you should see
why?
Intern girls going, but why? God, why? Because I think that nobody's perfect.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think a lot of people get into something thinking they know what it's going to be like, and they end up over their head. And I think everybody deserves a chance to screw up and correct their screw-ups. Now, I did an apology in this edition of the Valley Patriot because I screwed up last month. I did something stupid online. I was half asleep. I thought I was responding to something, and I didn't realize what I was really responding to, and I made some very horrible comments. And then after I woke up the next morning, I realized that what I thought was about the pink police cruiser virtue signaling posts that you see on Facebook every day from every police department. Oh, we care about cancer. We're stamping out cancer. It was really about 2 women who actually have cancer.
2 police officers.
2 police officers who actually have cancer.
In Haverhill, right?
Methuen.
Methuen, okay.
And so my comment made it look like I was attacking them. And I woke up and I was horrified by it. It would have been nice had I been given the same leeway that I give to other people. I was not given that. I did speak to.
Happens.
I did go to a meeting at the department. I did get up and I apologized, and I got, that's not good enough. You're a horrible person. Okay, I still screwed up, so I deserve it. So I'm taking it, right? But when it comes to DJ, I'm still giving him chances. When it comes to Martha, I'm going to give Martha a full year. Martha Soroy is going to come in January, and I'm going to give her a full year before, unless she says something really monumentally dumb. Like, unless she pulls a Dan Shabilia, I'm going to give her a chance to screw up, realize she screwed up, and correct it on her own because she's new. I think everybody new coming in the door deserves that dispensation. I think they deserve that whatever word I'm looking for. And I gave it to Brandy. I gave her 6 years. And after 6 years, now I'm done, right? I gave it to Dan Shabilia. Dan Shabilia went his whole first full year as a school committee member without me ever criticizing him. And he screwed up big in the first year. I could have really gone after him. The minute he got elected, I could have really gone after him, and I didn't. His first 6 months was a disaster. And I still gave him a chance because I think we all should do that. I think people should give me a chance when I screw up, and I think we should give even people that I don't like, even Jim McCarty, who's now the chief of staff for the mayor, right? Mm-hmm. The guy was a horrible city councilor. He was a corrupt city councilor for sure. But
wait, is he the one with the brother?
He's the one with the brother, yes.
Oh, okay.
But
and he's the chief of staff?
He's the chief of staff,
Methuen?
right? So they went from Rita Christine,
yeah,
like out of the frying pan into the fire. They went from one someone just like her.
How do we know for sure he's not going to do the same thing?
Well, I think he is. But you'll notice that I haven't criticized him a lot. And that's because I want to give him at least a year to get in there. And sometimes even bad people change. Sometimes even people who don't have the right motives, who aren't doing the right thing, who don't plan on doing the right thing, get in and see the gravity of the effect that their job has on people. And sometimes they rise to the occasion. You know, we've seen leaders. Winston Churchill was a horrible leader for England.
You think so? I don't think so.
He was the most despicable leader that England ever had.
I don't think so.
Until they decided that they were going to fight back against Hitler. And then suddenly, all of a sudden, he stepped up to the plate and he became the leader that England needed. But that guy was funding Stalin every step of the way. Stalin killed more people than Hitler did. Stalin killed almost twice as many people
he was
as
an
Hitler
alcoholic?
did, right? Who, Churchill?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, a lot of people back in the day.
So I guess my point is that sometimes, and being in the job that I'm in, and having been on the other side, having been a school board member, and then being outside, and then running campaigns, and being a campaign manager, being a candidate, being an elected official, being outside, then back in, then on the media, being the person being covered by the media, but now the guy covering other people, I have a unique perspective where I get to see it from all sides. And so I genuinely get more crap from my readers for giving people chances than pulling the trigger too fast. And I do that because I think everyone deserves it. I have not come in and eviscerated. I've made comments, but I haven't eviscerated Jim McCarty. And I don't think anybody can find anything that I've ever said about Dan Shabilia. And
we have the next video is Nick.
Oh, we have more? I thought we were done.
No, we have Nick, and then we have, hold on,
All
Jaina.
right, let's kill Nick because...
No Nick?
No.
Can we at least do Jaina?
Yeah, so Jaina said something that I thought was very interesting.
And then Larry at the end again. Just a regular.
Okay,
Larry.
So Larry, that was the entire file that I cut up.
Oh, okay.
So that we're not going to play that. But so let's wrap the show up with, this is Jaina Zani Pesci, the sexiest woman alive, which I'm sure drives the school Nazis crazy that I say that because he talked about her looks. Boop, boop. Right?
You ready?
Sexiest woman alive, Jaina Zani Pesci, who apparently took Kristen Maxwell's suggestion to heart about adding the school committee in their vote of no confidence on the superintendent.
I've not always agreed with her decisions, but I've never doubted her work ethic. Recently, however, I will say there is a huge disconnect. And unfortunately, as the head of the school department, the buck does stop with her. Mm-hmm. So that's where I get a little uneasy. I will say I would like to make an amendment to this, and I'm going to give you my reasons. I'd like to amend to include the school committee in the vote of no confidence. And my reasoning is this. We cannot fault the head of our school department for following the directives of her authoritative board.
Right.
So if those are the directives of the school committee and our superintendent is following that, then they should both be implicated, in my feeling. Mm-hmm. It's the will of the board. I do not think they should all fall on the superintendent. I do think we need change, as Councilor DeZoglio said. Our numbers are not okay.
Right.
It's actually worrisome for me to hear members of our school committee come up and defend our numbers.
Right.
I'm happy to hear the improvements of committee member Donovan. I haven't seen those yet, but that's the right direction. And I'm hoping that if this amendment gets accepted, and only then will I vote for a vote of no confidence, but I want to make this clear. It's not personal.
Okay, so that was tremendous. First of all, she's right, and she overlooked something that Kristen picked up and Jaina picked up. It's amazing how they think so much alike on some things. And that is that it's hard to fully blame Brandy Kwong because she was able to manipulate school board members to do what she wanted them to do, but they still did it, right? They're still her boss. So if you've got a boss at work and you manipulate them into giving you vacation time that you're not deserved, and they do it, are you still responsible for what you did? Yeah, but they're also responsible because he allowed you to manipulate them, right? And so the school board gives her directives. And by the way, they not only did they add $1 million in raises into her contract for over 3 years, thank God she's leaving, but also they built into her contract clauses that prohibit individual school board members from publicly talking about their criticism of the superintendent through her evaluation. Like, can you imagine even coming up with that idea and then positing it to a board and then having a majority of your board okay with that when they're supposed to be your boss? Mm-hmm. So she's right about that. She's right about the fact that these school board members are giving Brandy Kwong these directives, regardless of whether they're being manipulated. They're still in charge. The buck does stop with them. So you blame her for what she's doing. You blame her for those numbers that I showed you. But you also have to blame them, because they're the ones that got up. And let's name them. It was Laurie Keegan and Mary Beth Donovan and Dan Shabilia, and even to a smaller degree, Ryan DiZoglio, got up there and said, don't take a vote of no confidence in her. And 3 of the 4, if you take out Ryan DiZoglio, got up there and defended the numbers that I've been showing you all day. And Jana picked up on it. It was great that she did because nobody else talked about this. Only 2 people spoke. It was Nick and Jana. And Jana said, basically, I'm really troubled that school board members would defend these numbers. And she's right. So, you know, they can say it's illegal, you can't do it, she's going to sue. Look, the superintendent can sue because she doesn't like your haircut. Superintendent can sue because she doesn't like what color your jacket is. Doesn't mean she's going to get anywhere with it. And she can claim all she wants, that she's the poor victim and it's all personal. I didn't see one person on that city council, some of whom I like, some of whom I really do not like, but I did not see one person on that city council who had a personal vendetta against Brandy Kwong. Not one. Including the ones I don't like. There's not one person sitting up there that has a personal beef with Brandy Kwong. And trust me when I tell you, if they did, I would know about it because I get every piece of gossip. For every page that I print in the Valley Patriot, there's 36 pages of material that I don't print because it's either personal or it's not relevant or I just don't have room for it. And I'll tell you, just because I don't print it doesn't mean I don't know it. I know all the personal failings of everybody sitting up there. I know who they like, who they don't like, who they have vendettas against. They all talk to me. We all go out. We're all friendly. And I can tell you that there's not one person sitting up there, including Nick, who has any kind of personal vendetta against Brandy Kwong. What was interesting, though, is when the vote came 5-2, to take a vote in a vote of no confidence, which is symbolic, that's true, but it also sets a tone for the next person coming in, and that's where the school Nazis got it wrong. I noticed that there's 2 people sitting on that committee, on that city council, who voted to hire Brandy Kwong. Yeah.
Yeah.
2 members of that city council voted.
Are you going to say who?
To hire Brandy Kwong.
Are you going to say who?
Because they were both on the school committee when we hired Brandy Kwong. And one voted yes, and one voted no on the vote of no confidence. Jana Zani Pesci was on that committee that hired Brandy Kwong.
Okay.
And she still bit the bullet and said, you know, when she first came in, I liked her. She was doing good things, but now it's kind of out of control. And so she's holding everybody accountable. Nick, on the other hand, once again, took a walk. Nick DiZoglio was also on that committee that voted. So let's, and I don't want to make this a hate fest on Nick because as a person, I really kind of do like him. But he voted to give Judy Scannell a platinum parachute on her way out the door, even though she wasn't certified. He voted to bring in Brandy Kwong. He defended Joel Ferretra. I could go down the list of things.
Now he's going to be on the school committee.
And now he's going to go back on the school committee. So here's my hope for Nick. And everyone's telling me I'm full of shit. But here's my hope for Nick. My hope for Nick is he's going to be on the school committee, and he's going to be so sick and tired of all the crap that he took for defending Brandy and for defending Judy Scannell and being the deciding vote to give Judy Scannell a platinum parachute, even though she was 10 years superintendent that was never certified.
I still can't believe that.
And 10 years a principal before that and was never certified.
If I'm not mistaken, Brandy and Judy were both at the CJS when I was there. Like, they were both principals.
Yes. So Brandy...
And they were friends. Like, they knew each other.
They were friends, and Brandy came up under Judy Scannell. And when they hired Brandy, I didn't know her. I didn't know anything about her.
She was my principal.
By the way, to this day, I've never even met her. I don't think I've ever said hi to her. Like, everybody thinks I have some personal beef against her. We've never met. We've never even had a phone conversation. But here's what I do know. I know that when Jana and Jana DiNatale and Nick DiZoglio were all sitting on that school committee and they hired Brandy, I called all of them and I said, I don't know this lady. I don't know what her background is. I know that she's worked in the schools. I know that there are people that like her, people that don't like her, like everybody else. But here's what I do know. You just spent 10 years of Judy Scannell and all the foolishness that went on in her administration and the $4 million missing dollars that was never accounted for to this day. They accounted for $1 million of the 4. The other 3 is still unaccounted for. All of that went on while Judy Scannell was superintendent. But Brandy was the assistant superintendent when all that happened. Why would you take someone that was mentored by the person that just left and put them in charge? Aren't you just putting another Judy Scannell in here? 7 years from now, aren't we going to be exactly where we are now? And here we are. 7 years later, it's like we got in a time machine. We went ahead 7 years, and here we are. Tom was right again. So if the school committee's not going to take a vote of no confidence, and they're going to give glowing recommendations based on 3 grades doing better out of 12, and U.S. News and World Report compared us to Fall River, so it doesn't matter that 70% of the kids can't read. If that's the bullshit you're going to get from your school committee, at least there's one government body. And I'm going to leave you with this. The reason why you at least need to be talking about receivership is because you need to scare the living shit out of the people that are in charge of educating these kids and failing 70% of them. 73% in math. I'm not even going to get into the history numbers. The history numbers are almost zero. Like, I'm not kidding. The history numbers, social study numbers are almost zero.
They split social studies now with science.
It used to be history.
And science. Like, it used to be 4 main
things.
It
used to be history, but they watered down history so much that history just became white men are evil because they own slaves. Then it became social studies. So we could talk about Black Lives Matter and things that have nothing to do with history. And call it history, or we're not calling it history, calling it social studies. And so now they're going to pair it with science, and they just keep watering it down because they don't want kids to know the Constitution.
Instead of teaching them civics.
Right.
Yeah.
They don't want kids to know the Constitution. They don't want kids to know financial literacy. They don't want these kids to be able to graduate high school and go to a 4-year college and graduate and get a job that pays them $150,000 a year, because they will always be Democrats on welfare, dependent on the system, if we don't give them the tools to get ahead. And that's what this is all about. Every single one of those school Nazis that spoke at that meeting, every single one of them, they're Democrats. Every single one of these educators are Democrats. Cara Blatt, who got up at that meeting, and I didn't run her video for 2 reasons. One, she just repeated what everybody else says. The other, it would have made me go off on a whole tangent about my ex-girlfriend, which I'm not going to do because she looks exactly like my ex-wife, ex-girlfriend / whatever.
TMI, too much information.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
But that's why I didn't bring it in, because we would have gone down that road, and it would have taken away from the show, right? But every single person that spoke, you didn't have one conservative among them, except Ken Willett, who was smart enough not to go.
Yeah.
And Kristen Maxwell, who's not really political. She's not really a liberal. She's not really a conservative. She's
a mom.
She's just a mom, like the sped mom that got up. I don't know what her politics are, because they're talking as moms, and that's what it should be all about. All right, we're a little bit over. Where are we on time?
We're at 2 hours, 11 minutes.
Are we really over 2? Yeah, we can't go over 2. We shouldn't be over 1. It should be a 1-hour show.
That's fine.
We pay for an hour. And I write an extra check every single week. But it's worth it. It's worth it. Because, you look at all this stuff, and next week they're going to talk about something else, and they're going to be distracting.
They're looking at everything you're saying here. Every single word. They're studying it.
And I guarantee you there's something that I said today that might be a little off. I might have been off by a percentage on something, or I said something backwards by mistake. They're going to seize on that at the next meeting, and Heather Plunkett's going to go up there and say, Tom Duggan said
that I'm a Democrat, but I'm really independent.
Right, I'm really an independent, even though I voted Democrat in every election, right? So it's going to be, Tom Duggan said it was 3.41%, and it's 3.42%. See, he's full of shit. Like, that's the bullshit that they'll play. But that's okay. I don't mind that, because to me, the exact number is not as important as what it says, the statement that it makes, that 41% absent rate at the high school, and yet a freshman with 41% absentee rate gets pushed on to be a sophomore. And a sophomore with a 41% absentee rate gets to go on as a junior. And then they graduate the kids. And look at the number, the 86.5% graduation rate. Does that comport with everything else, anything else that you see on this board? Does that not jump off the page to show you that they're pushing kids ahead, that they're not prepared for the next grade? Because if these numbers are real, and we know they are, then that graduation rate should be somewhere around the neighborhood of 35 to 40%, if they're only graduating kids that can do the material. But that 86.5% tells you something else. It tells you that they're graduating kids that are not prepared to get into college, that are not prepared to get a real job, that can't read at grade level, that can't do math at grade level, that can't do anything at grade level. That's what it tells you.
That's why during the debate for the at-large, you remember I asked the question about a charter school. That would be an option, because these levels, these numbers are so low.
Right.
And it would be great for some parents to have an opportunity to say, you know what, my kid is not being challenged enough because of the situation at the schools. So why not apply for a charter school so my child can get a better education and be aligned with the kids around him? And
the schools hate that, and the school Nazis hate that.
They said no. They all say no, basically.
Right. They all say no because it takes money away from the public schools, because what they're admitting out loud without realizing it is that parents would rather have their kid in a charter school than in a public school.
Yeah.
Because the kid's going to get a better education in a charter school than in a public school.
Better chance for a better, secondary school.
Why? And let's wrap up with this. Why are these numbers the way that they are after 7 years of Brandy Kwong, and she's so fucking awesome? If Larry Keegan is right, and she's the greatest, she's the best employee in the city of Methuen has ever had in the history of mankind, why would these numbers be what they are? If her administration, by the way, she's not alone. Like, I don't want her to bear the entire brunt. Yeah. It's her administration. It's her assistant superintendents, right? It's her principals, her assistant superintendents, some of whom I'm sure are good people, but these numbers tell the story. These numbers tell the story. And you know what? Thank God for guys like Frank Cirillo, who put this on the agenda. He did a lot of research on it. I don't agree with every point that he put out, but I agree with most of them. And at the end of the day, the city council did the right thing. And yes, it is symbolic, but it's symbolic for a reason. And the reason why we did this, even though she's resigned, but hasn't left, because she hasn't technically resigned, she notified us that she's going to resign. That's what she did.
Oh, she hasn't done it
She hasn't resigned. She's not gone. She's still here till the end of the school year. So that's the reason why you need to take this vote of no confidence. Because you, want to make sure she still leaves. Because she could change, under her contract, she can still stay. Even though the city, by the way, most people don't know this, even though the school committee voted to accept her resignation, under her contract, they offered her 3 more years. She accepted that contract. If she wants to stay for 3 more years and change her mind in January, she can. If Martha McCarthy Sorois comes on in January and becomes what a lot of people think she's going to be and just be like a rubber stamp for that side, she very well could say, you know what, I changed my mind. I can't get a job now because these numbers are out and Duggan keeps attacking me and the city council voted no confidence. So, I mean, I got a 3-year contract. I might as well stay. She can stay. And that's why the vote of no confidence is important, because we need to send a signal, not just to her that she still needs to leave because she's not gone, but also the next person coming in the door, those numbers have to be their number one priority.
Yeah.
Not masturbation, not
social,
the part-time chocolate Indian,
Trump,
not Trump is a fascist, not all this other crap, Black Lives Matter, not turning them into social justice warriors, not transgender bathrooms, not gay marriage, not abortion. The next superintendent that comes into Methuen has to make these numbers their number one priority. They need to come in with goals on how to turn it around. They need to have strategies that they're going to publicly state out loud what they're going to be, and they need to be able to change if those strategies aren't working. And you're going to need a school committee. And the one thing that is going to be good about Nick DeZoglio is I think when Nick gets in and a new superintendent comes on board, I think he's going to be hard on the new superintendent and force him to make sure, him or her, to make sure that these numbers are going to be his number one focus. That's what it's got to be. So I think that's the end of the show. I think we can.
Is she still a finalist at Wilmington Schools?
No, they turned her down in... Was it Middleton or Danvers?
I think it was Wilmington.
Was it Wilmington? So
yes.
She didn't get that job, but I understand that she's applied in Wakefield. I heard. I haven't verified that, but okay. I hear she's going. And all these people. There are some people that are making phone calls and trying to stop her from getting jobs other places. Let her go.
Yeah,
let her go. There are school districts that want someone that will do this. There are school systems that want a woke superintendent that wants 5th grade kids to be hearing lessons about anal sex. And
masturbation.
What's the name of that book? Gay Like Me or something? What is it? Gender Queer.
Gay ABCs.
Yeah, there are school districts that want that kind of superintendent. Cambridge, I'm sure she would fit in perfect in Cambridge. Let her go to Cambridge. And if the parents in Cambridge want that to be their legacy, then let them do it.
Yeah, we just want her out of here. Thank you.
But she needs to go. She needs to go. And if I thought for a minute that Brandy Kwong and her administration could take these numbers and reverse them so that 70% of kids are reading at grade level and 73% of kids are doing math proficiently, then I would be the first one to say, let's give her a shot. Because I gave her a shot for 6 fucking years. And look where we are. All right, let's roll up Mel and thank our sponsors.
Yes.
We want to thank, before you roll up Mel, we got to do an intern cam because we got our intern girl cam sponsored by Pleasant Valley Landscaping Contractors.
I'm so cold, guys.
Dave Inconsoli.
I'm shaking.
Yeah, we got to go because it's 4:30 and we have stuff to do.
Yes, we do.
Are you hungry?
I'm starving.
Are you really? Okay.
Yes. Where are we going?
I'm thinking of going to Brando's if we can get up that far, but
Okay.
Usually this time of day you can't get up 495. So if there's no traffic, we'll go to Brando's. If there is traffic, we'll take a quick bite over at Salvatore's.
Okay. Ooh, yes. Let's go there.
Okay. All right. All right, let's take our sponsors. JG's Ice Cream, Lambert and Rendon Law Office, Stadium Chiropractic, 4-Star Lighting, W3ON Website Design, Prime Insurance, the Doug Mercurio Law Office, Pleasant Valley Landscaping Contractors, AFC Urgent Care, Clear Path for Veterans New England, Tomo and Shaken Seafood, EIS Investigation and Gun Training, Marcian and Son Construction, On the Go Notary, Zany Pesh Law Office, Brando's, Century 21, Century 21, and who did we forget at the beginning? Total Mortgage. I don't have her on my list. I keep writing her in and I keep losing it for some reason. We love Marie. Sounds like Melvin Taylor says we got to go home. What? Huh?
I don't want to go.
I don't want to go eat. Want to do another hour?
Sure.
We just pay for another hour. We'll just stay. We'll order in. We'll call China Walk. They got great Chinese food. I'm not a Chinese food guy, but they got good Chinese food.
All right. Say
All
goodbye.
All right. Melvin Taylor says you got to go home, so go home already.